Maloney Living Trust,
16, right?
May 16.
Yep.
Maloney Living Trust, Michael Ciancio, and Town of Southampton Housing Authority. Okay? And then go back to the page of decisions. Nikolai Nielsen, you're gonna reopen to accept written submissions. And the decision is later on tonight. And the same thing for Roberto Cami, which is on the last page. Reopen for written subs.
That happens when they come in late.
Right, then I have a written sub deadline date, 5/17. Decision 6/6. And then your next few,
You know to support the decision we've already
your
written.
next few agendas, May
In order
16th,
to
you have
support
10.
the decision that's already been
On
made.
6/6, you have 10. Right now, one of those being 625 Butter Lane, I'm not sure if they're gonna be ready or not, but just keep that in mind. You think not, you have to probably get some.
Start crying now.
On 6/20, right now you have 13. One of those being, not 11, 6/20. Okay. So you have 12, you have 13, because he said one's not gonna go, so you probably have 12 on 6/20. And 7/18 is open. As far as I know, there's no meeting on July 4th. Town hall's closed.
Right, so anybody who is looking to come on July 4th, don't plan on doing so. We won't be here.
So the next meeting is 7/18.
7/18, yeah.
The one following that.
And what are our dates again? I'm sorry.
Sure, written sub deadline 5/17, decision 6/6.
Okay.
Zoom.
Peter, are you ready? Can we start the meeting?
Yes.
Yeah, that sound is awful.
Okay, we're going to start the meeting. Good evening and welcome to the May 2nd meeting of the Town of Southampton Zoning Board of Appeals. Before we begin with any announcements, I want to extend a very warm welcome to our new board member, Kevin McDonald.
Thank you very much.
And I'm sure I speak for the board in saying we're looking forward to working with you, and congratulations on your appointment. Okay, now to announcements. This meeting is being held live and also via video conferencing in accordance with the Town Board's enactment of Local Law Number 14 of 2022. Our next meeting and those following will also be held in person here at Town Hall and will continue to allow for remote participation. So please keep checking the town's website for updates and any new information. If you wish to view tonight's meeting live only and not participate, please do not join the Zoom meeting and instead go to the town's website for updates and any new information. With that, I'd like to ask you to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For those of you with us tonight, in case of emergency evacuation, please exit through the rear doors of this room to one of the staircases across the hall and continue downstairs and out through the main entrance. Do not attempt to use the elevators during an emergency evacuation. In case of a medical emergency, the automated external defibrillator and first aid kit are both located in the hallway on this floor opposite the elevator. Restrooms are located across the hall from this room. We'll begin this meeting with public hearings. We have applicants and members of the public here with us live and also standing by via Zoom webinar, which is being moderated by CTV. CTV will mute the speakers on Zoom until it is their time to give testimony before the board. Please be patient. If you find you're having difficulties accessing the hearing, visit the town clerk's meeting portal and click on the instructions link. Also, for those of you in this boardroom, please silence your cell phones and refrain from speaking to one another as it interferes with the recordings of our proceedings. Tonight, board member Helen Burgess is participating via Zoom. A reminder that applicants, agents, and members of the public speaking other than attorneys will be sworn in and will state their address for the record and will offer their testimony as it relates to the application before the board. In order to consider properly every application before us tonight, individuals commenting on a particular application will have a time limit of 3 minutes. Also, before handing in any submissions to the board tonight, please make sure that the documents identify the ZBA application name and tax map number. The application name should also be written on your certified receipts. Unless otherwise stated at the end of an individual application hearing, all applications will remain open for written comments for all purposes until a set date. Those written comments can be addressed to the members of the board, sent via email, mail, and/or dropped off at Town Hall to the Board Secretary, Candace Cowell. At this time, I'd like a motion to approve the minutes of our April 18th, 2024
So
meeting.
moved.
Second.
Mis-
I'm abstaining.
Okay. Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Mr. Macedonio. Ms. Burgess. Chair votes aye. Motion's approved. John, would you like to take us through the agenda for the evening?
Okay, starting with case number 7, Michael Kandanov. This application has been withdrawn. Case number 10, application of 94 Dune Holding Corporation. There's that 10. 94 Dune Road, East Quogue, Suffolk County Tax Map number 900-385-1-37.3. This application will be adjourned to the August 1st meeting.
Second. No. Do we need a vote on that?
Yes.
Adjournments, yes.
Second.
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Mr. Daly?
Aye.
Mr. McDonald?
Am I allowed to vote here?
Yes, you are.
Aye.
Mr. Macedonio?
Aye.
Grab the first.
Ms. Burgess?
There we go.
There we go, Helen, you're on. Chair votes aye.
Was on.
Okay, case number 12, 3310 Noyak LLC, 3310 Noyak Road, Noyak, Suffolk County Tax Map number 900-14-1-66.5. This application will be adjourned to the June 20th meeting.
Second.
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Mr. Daly?
Aye.
Mr. McDonald? I'm
Aye.
not used to saying.
Like
That's
old
okay.
MacDonald.
Yes, okay. Ms. Burgess? Aye. Mr. Macedonio?
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
Case number 14, application of J.G. Farrell III Real Estate LLC, 8 Middle Pond Lane, Shinnecock Hills, Suffolk County Tax Map number 900-272-2-10. This application will be adjourned to the June 6th meeting.
Second.
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Mr. Daly?
Aye.
Mr. Macedonio?
Aye.
Mr. McDonald?
Aye.
Ms. Burgess? Aye. Chair votes aye.
The following decisions will be adjourned to the May 16th meeting. Maloney Living Trust, Michael Ciancio, and Town of Southampton Housing Authority.
Second.
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Mr. Macedonio? Mr. Daly?
Aye.
Mr. McDonald? Ms. Burgess? Chair votes aye.
Okay, I move to reopen the application of Nikolai Nielsen to accept written submissions.
Second.
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Mr. Daly?
Aye.
Mr. Macedonio?
Aye.
Mr. McDonald?
I didn't hear it, so I should abstain.
Ms. Burgess? Chair votes aye.
I move to close with a decision to be rendered later on this evening.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
I move to reopen the application of Roberto Came to accept written submissions.
Second.
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Mr. Daly?
Aye.
Mr. McDonald?
I'm abstaining again.
Ms. Burgess?
And
Mr.
I-
Macedonio? Chair votes aye.
I move to close with a decision to be rendered on March 21st.
Second.
All,
Sorry, later on this evening.
Later on this evening. Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, going back to the beginning of the agenda, application number 1, Carmen Waldman, 16 Ocean Avenue, East Quogue, Suffolk County Tax Map number 900-290-2-23.2. Applicant requests relief from the following provisions of the Town Code for a proposed accessory apartment on a non-conforming lot. 1, Section 330-11.2F, Special Standards. 1, for lot area from 30,000 square feet to 13,000 square feet. 2, lot area from 16,000 square feet, 80% of the required 20,000 square feet. And 3, a principal rear yard setback from 42 feet, 70% of the required 60 feet, to 31.5 feet. And 2, Section 330-11.2G, special standards, minimum and maximum sizes to allow the total floor area of the apartment to be 37.03% of the total floor area of the main dwelling, where a maximum of 35% is permitted, and any other relief necessary.
Who's here for this application? I need your affidavit of posting, please.
Just attached to the.
Attached to this
Okay.
packet?
The last page.
Awesome. Okay, the board has jurisdiction?
You come up, please. Yeah.
Can you pass that to Mike, please? Thank you.
Are you an attorney?
I am not.
Okay, then you just swear you in. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your name and address.
Rowena Pasolico, 14 Red Creek Circle, Hampton Bays, New York, 11946.
I'm sorry, what was your first name?
Rowena.
Rowena. Okay, Rowena, do you want to tell us about this application?
Yes, I'm here on behalf of Carmen Waldman, and she's sitting here as well. She is building or proposing to have an accessory apartment in the basement of her house. So we're not building anything outside of the premises, just gonna be inside. And it's only 669 square feet. She's building this for her parents. So she wants to do this legally, and therefore we're here to get a variance. Her lot size is smaller than required. It's only 13,000 square feet, because it's only 100 by 130. And I understand that there's a requirement of 30,000 square feet. So this is why we're here, to apply for a variance.
Okay, Michael, do you want to start us off on this, since you have the lead?
So, you're saying that the applicant wants this accessory apartment, which is a below-grade accessory apartment
For her parents.
for parents?
Mhm.
Can you
So
tell
a
us a little
relative.
bit about that can you tell us a little bit about that situation,
they're-
or if she'd like to, she can?
Oh, I know a little bit about it. They're elderly, and she
Mhm.
wants to take care of them. And it's just easier if they're in her home. So that's why it's just, she's trying to build this accessory apartment for them.
Do they currently live with the applicant?
Not at the moment.
Not at the moment, okay. And would they become full-time residents of the?
Yes,
Of the accessory apartment?
yes.
Okay. I have concerns about this because it is such a large request for relief. Unfortunately, you're in a designated area that requires, I believe it's 30,000 square feet for an accessory apartment, although most of the township is 20,000, I believe, right? But yours does require 30,000, and you're 13. Secondly, we are not very excited about accessory apartments that are over 50% of the primary structure. So this is over 50%, am I right?
No.
It's
no.
37.
It's, accessory apartments are allowed to be 35% the size of the dwelling, and this is 37%.
Right, it's only 37%.
And as it relates to the lot area, typically.
So where did I get that wrong?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
It's in the write-up. But also, the accessory apartments typically used to have to be on lots that were 30,000 square feet in lot area, and this board regularly was granting variances from that section. Then they added the 20,000 square feet for like certain areas where there's density. So that was just kind of an acknowledgement that not all lots are 30,000 square feet. This lot just doesn't happen to be in that census designated
Right.
place. So just, if that's your hesitation, I just wanted to explain, it's not that most of them are 20,000. Most of them are 30,000, except that they've added a little leeway for that for 20,000 if you're in the census designated place.
Okay. So this is still a significant request for relief, right, from 30
It's it's not for me to determine if it's
to
significant.
13? But being that it's for the parents who would become full-time residents,
Right. It's really a hardship for them. So that's why we need to have this accessory apartment so that she can take care of them. And also, I understand that the town is encouraging accessory apartments to be built according to that ADU program, which she's applying for. And she really wants to take advantage of that.
I think, you know, you make a sympathetic case. You know, the problem that the board has is that, you know, often people come to us with less compelling sympathetic cases, but want the same kind of relief. And so we have to be even-handed in terms of how we judge these applications.
I understand.
And this is a significant change in terms of, you know, modification of the required size, square footage. One of the things I think you have going for you is that it's a basement apartment, so it's not
Right.
like you're building
Outside.
on the surface, outside, you know, more coverage of the lot.
Exactly.
So that is definitely something to take into consideration, and thank you for the correction on the size versus the principal dwelling it being only 37%.
Sure.
I still have some hesitation about the size of the lot, and I don't know how the rest of the board feels about that.
Just, will the apartment granted, will it require any additional variances for parking?
Yeah, and that's true. I mean,
She does have enough space for parking, and according to the plan, the surveyor actually cut out a portion of it for extra parking. And, you know, they're elderly, so they probably just
I know, but we
went for it.
can't, I mean, this house could get sold at some point, and
That's
it
the
will
problem.
not, yeah, it's not gonna be necessarily the same people living in it forever.
I understand.
And the variance runs with the land, not with the owners, so that's one of the concerns. You said that the survey includes the parking, did you? catch that? I see asphalt driveway. How many bedrooms in the principal?
There's 3, Carmen?
All right, so that requires 2 parking spaces plus the accessory apartment, so that would be 4 parking spaces are required.
Right.
Which I don't see where you get.
I don't see where the 4 parking spaces come in either.
How many bedrooms in the apartment?
3. Oh, 1 in
One.
the apartment.
And three in the house, so it'll be 4 bedrooms, how many parking cars, 4 parking
2
cars?
plus 1, right? It's 2 plus 1, 3. 3 parking are required.
Could you explain the request for setback relief?
Through the house.
Yeah, because there's nothing being built outside.
I think
But
we're
that's
only
it.
about,
Old people are gonna go downstairs.
we're
Do-
at 31.3 right now, and I believe the requirement is about 42.
When you're putting an accessory apartment in an existing dwelling, or when you're putting an accessory apartment on any lot, you have to ask for relief for any nonconformities that already exist. For any nonconformities that already exist. So that's basically what this is. It's
Okay.
the lot already exists at the size that it is, the house already exists at the setback that it is. The survey was revised, right? Because it, you know, one of the comments was, you know, put
That
the
it's now
setback on there.
included, yes.
So it's basically just, this house exists, this apartment's gonna be in the basement, but because it's got a non-conforming setback, in a perfect world, everything would comply. The house would comply, and then you just put the accessory apartment in the dwelling. But because it already benefits from a CO and it already has non-conforming setbacks, that's why they're basically just listing any non-conformities on the lot.
Right, okay. And the shed, has that been removed?
It will be removed.
Okay.
And that's
Where-
on the survey too, right?
Yes.
That has
Yes.
to be,
Removed.
that has to be indicated on the survey.
It is.
It is.
It is.
I have
Where am I
another
looking at
question for you.
I
Where
have a
it,
new survey if you're.
I did not get that on my survey. Did you get that on your survey?
We have it.
I have one if you need.
Oh, is it in a submittal? That,
Yep.
it's probably in a submittal, which we didn't get until tonight, so.
Yeah. right?
Yep.
where will the access be to the
It's right there.
apartment?
It will be outside.
On
They're gonna
the
build-
left side where the
Yeah.
steps are now?
Yes.
Is that,
On the right side of the dwelling.
if you're looking at it, it's on the left side?
Right. Oh, excuse me. Yes, left side, Carmen? Yes.
The new
Sorry, left
basement
side.
exit, does that basement exit exist now?
It does exist, but it's not finished.
Okay. So that would be to code.
All right, so the point being that all of the setbacks that you currently have to be recognized as part of this variance if we were to approve it. And that's just the normal course of things.
Procedures, yeah.
You know,
That's our
again,
first relief.
I'm somewhat reluctant because of the square footage of the lot and the fact that, you know, again, these variances run with the land and they don't run with the individuals. So I'm somewhat hesitant about that. I'm not really concerned about the size. I'm not concerned about the setbacks. And I just would like to hear if anybody else has the same hesitation on the size of the
There-
lot.
Kate, is there a way to have it conditioned upon no rental permit ever being issued, that has to be relatives that live there?
Oh, no,
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 you
accessory
don't do
apartment,
that.
the whole point of the accessory,
Yeah.
the
Okay.
accessory apartments, they have their own strict standards as to who can live in there. So even the fact that it's her parents shouldn't persuade the board. They're one of the groups of people that are allowed to live there.
Okay.
But it, you know, goes into the Affordable Housing Bank, a development right has been extinguished for it. You know,
I have one
Yes, go
question.
ahead. Evan.
Can you clarify if the health department, if you've seen the health department yet about whether they would require an upgrade on your septic system?
We have not applied for the Board of Health yet.
All right.
So
And-
we were waiting for this approval before we expense, you know,
Okay.
more
Okay,
money.
and to clarify also, first day here, there's an outdoor staircase that goes down to the basement,
Correct.
right? Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Is there anyone from the audience who wishes to be heard on the application of Waldman at 16 Ocean Avenue? Is there anybody on Zoom who wishes to be heard on this application? Okay.
No one on Zoom either?
Nope. Okay, Michael, it's yours.
Okay, so are we due anything
We have to
from
get-
the applicant? Another survey, or?
Well,
No, we have the updated survey.
All right, well, I haven't seen it, but I.
It's in your submittal packet.
Does it cover parking?
Does it cover parking?
Right.
it covers parking to the extent that the building department, you know,
Didn't
has.
require
has
anything
raised it.
additional.
Identified it as a
Okay.
need.
Yeah.
And clarity on whether there's a septic upgrade that needs to happen, in which case,
They won't get approval until that.
Well, they won't get approval whether we approve it or whether we give them
Point
a
taken.
variance.
Right, that's how it works.
If
Right.
they'll then go for the building permit, and if required, they'll have to do that before constructing it.
And the updated survey covers the comments made by the building inspector.
Okay,
They
good.
do,
good
and
to
the
know.
shed will be removed.
That the shed will be
Correct.
removed. It's
Okay.
marked.
Okay, good.
So we will close this public hearing, leaving it open for written submissions until May 17th, and you can expect a decision on June 6th.
Second.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia.
Aye.
Mr. McDonald.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess. Chair votes aye. Okay, we'll
Okay,
see
number-
you on.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks very much.
Number 2 on the agenda, Harbor Baby LLC, 71 Ridge Road, Noyak, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-16-2-9. Applicant requests a determination that the subject parcel, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-16-2-9, is held in single and separate ownership from all adjacent parcels and thus entitled to relief pursuant to 330-115D.
The board has jurisdiction. Is there anyone here for the application? Oh, come on up.
I was totally upside down on that one. That's the last time I talked to you before our meeting.
Hi,
Yes, swear you in.
are you attorneys? Okay, let me swear you.
If you would like, you can sit down here.
Whatever's easy.
Let them stand up.
Yeah.
Okay, sit here, because then we can
prefer when they're
cover
up
your voices better on the recording. Okay, so let me swear you in. Okay. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Please separately state your name and addresses.
My name is Kamran Gazvini. I live on 241 Brookfield Road, Brookville, New York.
Okay.
My name's Rebecca Zepeda, I live at 13 Marlborough Drive, Jefferson Station, New York.
You need
Okay.
help with that?
I'm gonna need him to spell this.
All right, we need you to spell your name.
You last-
Kamran,
K-A-M-R-A-N?
Yes.
Okay,
Last name Ghazvini.
I didn't get a G-H-A-Z-V-I-N-I,
INI.
okay.
Okay, Rebecca, how about, would you
I
spell your
have-
last name?
You can have a spell, I have Rebecca's name.
Go ahead.
CEPEDA.
Okay. Okay, so tell us about the application.
Okay, it's on my phone, so I'm just gonna have the scanned in version.
Okay, go ahead.
So in June 13th of last year, the properties at 71 Ridge Road West was purchased from the estate and the Kings County Clerk, Public Administrator. And that also was 49 Bayview Drive West, or 49A Bayview Drive West. They were in common ownership from the Kings County Clerk and also prior from the estate of Theodore Koch.
So both were purchased
Yeah,
at the
both were
same time
purchased at the same time, yeah.
by the public administrator?
Yes,
Okay. Okay, and that was in June?
yes, 2023.
Okay,
I believe it was June 13th, yeah,
okay,
2023.
that's fine.
Prior to the common ownership, it was owned separately, single and separately, from multiple different owners dating back to as far as 1946. In 1970, Philip Jones, I believe, sold it to Ann Falugo. And then in 2010, the
Never.
Oh, no, I don't believe so. I bought it from the Kings County Clerk, so.
Okay. Was it ever used at cross purposes? In other words, did you have something located on the vacant property that was being used by the owners of, or the occupants of the other property?
No, there's no sheds or any.
Tennis courts or anything like that?
No, nothing, yeah.
Okay. Are there separate tax bills? I believe there were.
Yes, yes.
Separate tax bills. And separate deeds,
Mhm.
correct. There's no mortgage on the house?
There's no mortgage on the land.
There's no mortgage on the land?
Yeah.
There may be a mortgage on the other house, but
Yeah.
it didn't include the vacant lot in the mortgage?
No, no.
Okay, okay. Okay, anybody else have questions?
None.
Katie, am I missing anything here?
Nope.
Okay,
It's still woods, it's still not.
It's still woods, yeah.
it's vacant.
Yeah, it's vacant.
lot, yeah. Okay,
Woods.
I don't think there's gonna be a problem, so,
Thank God.
I'm so glad.
Finally.
If anyone needs an expediter, they can call me. Just saying.
Oh, God.
All right, yeah, hand out your card.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, we don't want to know. Okay, Helen, this is yours. Is there any, do you want to ask anything, or you just want to go for?
I'll probably move this application.
Okay, good.
Close the public hearing. We'll leave it open for written submissions to May 17th, and we'll have a decision on June 6th.
Second.
Okay. Ms. Burgess?
Aye.
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Mr. Macedonio? Ms. Daly?
Aye.
Mr. McDonald?
Yeah, aye.
Chair votes aye.
Thank
Okay.
you. I
Thank you.
appreciate
Get
it.
home safe.
Thank you so much.
Number 3 on the agenda, Marie Daly, 9 Pine Road, Noyak, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-5-5-29. Applicant requests relief from the following provisions of the Town Code for a new one-family, two-story dwelling on a non-conforming lot. 1. Section 330-6, General Regulations, that references Section 330-11, Residence Districts Table of Dimensional Regulations, for a principal front yard setback from a required
Got a
30
good
feet
name.
to 16.5 feet, and 2, total lot coverage from 20% to 23.6%, and 330-84D, pyramid law for proposed encroachment in the amount of 4,762 cubic feet into the north and south sky planes, and any other relief necessary.
Board has jurisdiction.
Are any of you lawyers?
Susan, please.
Okay, so let me swear you in. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So individually, could you say your names and addresses, please?
John Sirkin, 36 Westgate Road, Waynescott, New York.
Okay,
Marie Daly, 107 Canfield Place, North Carolina, New York.
okay,
Emmett Daly, 107 Canfield Place, North Belmont.
okay, great.
I couldn't hear you say this, like, you Maria?
Marie.
Maureen.
Marie
What's
Daly.
your first name?
Emmett?
Emmett.
E-M-M-E-T-T.
Marie. I'm sorry, I had Maureen. Marie.
E-N-M-E-T.
T, yes.
Two M's, two M's, two T's.
Two T's, two M's.
And two E's.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us about the application.
Good evening. So, per the agenda, we're here for relief from three different provisions of the zoning code. And I guess we can just take them in order. The first being the front yard reduction from the required 30 feet to 16.5 feet. This is primarily or solely driven by the septic. We had no way to fit the septic system and the driveway or parking area in the front yard. So the decision was made to locate septic in the backyard, and as you can see on the surveys, it takes up the entire backyard. So had we transposed it to the front, there would be nowhere to park. The properties all across the street, just, I don't have a survey of them, but using a tape measure, are all 15 to 16 feet from the front, from the asphalt. So it is not unusual or out of the character of this neighborhood for that 15 or 16 feet in the front yard.
Okay,
Let me see, the next one we have, the pyramid, this is in a flood zone, this is an AE6 flood zone. So the pyramid relief is primarily driven by the raising of the house. The average grade here is 5.5 feet. Our first floor is at elevation 9, so we're starting 3.5 feet up, which accounts for the majority, if not all, of the pyramid relief we're
I'm sorry,
seeking.
did you say 3.5 feet?
We're 3.5 feet above grade.
Right.
Because of the flood zone requirements. So obviously the zoning code gives relief for overall height in the flood zone, but there's no automatic relief for pyramid. And
how high is the building?
the building is 26.5 feet from grade, so we're not over the 30.
Okay.
And the last part of the relief we're seeking is for the lot coverage. We're at 23.6%, or 20% is the maximum allowed by code. This is a small house, it's 2,000 square feet. They're intending to make this their primary residence. I don't think, and they do have grown children, so I don't, we've done what we can to downsize the house and make it as small as possible. We've brought in the roof lines. The upstairs bedrooms are kind of tight. You can see those on the floor plans. So there's not a great way to make the house smaller. And the lot, the lot is very small.
How many bedrooms?
3?
We're dealing with a
Upstairs?
4,200 square foot lot,
Any downstairs?
No.
I'm sorry, what was the size again?
4,200 square feet.
4,200 square feet.
Correct. We have been in touch with the neighbors. We have letters of support that we can submit for the record from the neighbor to the right if you're facing the property. I don't know that we've heard from the neighbor to the left, right?
But we've spoken to them and they've, they've said that.
Well, if they're here tonight, we'll hear from them, I'm sure. I went to the property. It's a very, very small piece of property. I think the pyramid relief is extraordinary. I do feel it's gonna tower over everything on that block. It's not a block of, high houses. I mean, they're all pretty small, bungalowy, one floor. I think it's a lot of pyramid relief. What's the height of the ceilings?
8 feet.
Both floors?
Let me think about that. Can't even see.
I personally don't have a problem with the front yard setback.
8 feet.
I don't have a problem with the lot coverage, but I do have a problem with the pyramid relief.
I concur with that. I think that, and usually we do give some latitude because you are raising the house, but the amount that you're raising the house, as you just said, is only 3.5 feet. It's not like you're raising the house 6 feet and requiring an encroachment into the pyramid. So
Right,
I think this is extraordinary is a very good
I think
word
that
for
there's
it.
other houses in this neighborhood that have been granted this relief or greater, not on this particular block, but all in the surrounding property, all in the surrounding neighborhoods.
Do you have those zoning board decisions?
On lots this size?
No, I
It's a very
drove
small
around the
lot.
neighborhood. There are a couple right on the water, but they probably have a much higher elevation to begin with. I saw maybe 2 houses maybe that are, a significant height.
Well, wait, let me ask, do you have any of those
I
decisions
don't
here
have
with
the
you today?
decisions with me today, but we can.
That would have been helpful for you to do.
But we don't necessarily go on the
No,
fact that there have been
Well,
other
it would be good for,
things.
look, if you're saying that there are other decisions that we issued in the past
Yes.
that would give us reason or justification to grant the relief that you're requesting, we would like to see those. It
Understood.
doesn't mean that we're necessarily going to follow them, but we would need to look at that.
Right, understood. So could we hold the hearing open so we can submit that with that documentation?
I think we're going to have to.
Yeah, of
Hold on one
course.
second, can you just pass that original down to Susan? This is one copy for everybody,
Yeah,
right?
exactly,
And
yeah.
then everybody take a copy of that.
This is a lot of relief for a very small lot. I mean, there's, common sense is small lot, small house. This feels like a medium-sized house on a small lot, and you can't always do that. I understand, your needs but it's a small lot.
No, it's definitely a small.
Yes,
for
no,
that
it's very
square
small,
feet.
and it's very tight to the property lines on the side. Has no backyard, essentially. I mean, you're gonna be putting the septic back there, it's very, it's a very small lot, and that's a lot of pyramid relief. And, we generally don't grant that pyramid relief.
Yeah, we will look at the other decisions in the neighborhood, but granted, even if there are other decisions that, doesn't necessarily mean you'll grant it in
That's
this
true,
case, of course.
that's true. I mean,
Right,
is
precedence is not
there any way to bring it
determined.
down somehow, the pyramid relief? I know you said you worked on roof lines and other things.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time on the roof.
Yeah, I know you probably are concerned and try to put in a good effort about that, yeah. There are just some lots that, you
So
can't
when
build.
I originally told the town about wanting to build a house over, they said the only thing you can do is go up.
Yeah.
Well, we can come back with this one-story house, but the lot coverage is gonna be out of control.
Well, that would be a consideration that
Yeah, is that something the
something
board
like that would not be approved.
Yeah, probably, well, it would be a concern. I mean,
Right,
it's a
you-
small lot.
right,
And,
understood.
you're trying to put, not a huge house, but you're trying to put a medium-sized
Right.
house, like Michael said, on a very small lot. And it just is not in character with the neighborhood, as far as I could see. Certainly on that street, it isn't in keeping with the character of the neighborhood. But let's see if there's anybody in the audience who wishes to be heard on this application. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to be heard on Marie Daly and 9 Pine Road? Is there anybody on Zoom who wishes to be heard?
I do. I have a problem with the encroachment, and when I look at the floor plan, I mean, you have rooms that you, called a reading room. I mean, maybe some of the space could all be put on one floor. If you have a reading room, you have an office, I mean, they're nice to have, but not when you have to ask for such a large encroachment. So I'm not a yes on this. Regardless of what you bring in to show that some board, I don't know, I don't think it was our board, but, you know, I don't know. But even if it was, I would still be a no. So that's my comment.
Any other comments from the board? I think you're picking up a vibe. I'm sorry to say, but I think you're getting the vibe that, you know, again, we're sympathetic. It's not like we aren't, but we
Yeah.
really do have to live by the code, and we have to live with, you know, trying to be consistent in our decision-making. And so, you know, if you'd like to come back, try to take another look at the plans, see what you can modify, come up with some, you know, other cases, if you wanted to present some cases. It may not receive positive feedback, even if you do bring the cases in, but that's where we stand. Do you want to come back, or?
Yeah, I think we should leave the hearing
I
open.
still wanna live here.
Yeah, no, it's
No,
not.
no, and
it's
you
not-
know, we understand that, and we want you to live here,
No.
but we have to, you know, we just have to be,
We have 2 boys, that's why I get.
That's why the extra room.
And it's not uncommon for people to come in and be making this transition like you are, and to want to have a house that's going to serve their needs. But
So,
I think you need to take another
The
look
board's
at
feeling on the
what you want to
30
put
to
in
16
here.
and a half.
I'm sorry, the what?
The front yard setback. We were-
I'm not a problem with
Okay,
the
the
setback,
setbacks.
and I'm not, and I have no problem with the coverage of the lot, because it's a very small
Consistent with the
lot.
neighborhood, that's
Yeah,
consistent with that
that's
neighborhood.
consistent, but I do have a big concern with
Pyramid, I'm a little,
it.
like,
And you know, these all, you know, we all bought these houses out here when, you know, we were using them for different reasons, and sometimes they can't morph into something else. So please take a look. If you want, come back, and let's see, you know, what you come up with.
Great, thank you.
Okay, so,
probably adjourn. How about-
Sorry?
Let's
yes,
pick a date, yeah.
when would you like to come back? We have,
5/16, 6/6, 6/20. How much time would you need to reassess?
I'm sorry, can you say that one more time, Tim?
May 16th, June 6th, or
No, I have to
June
get my son
20th?
from school.
don't. I mean, you're gonna have to come up
We're
with,
gonna come with a new plan.
you have to come up with a new
we
plan,
also
you might
have
have to have
July
an insert, you know,
18th.
yeah, so don't
Do
worry.
June 16th, the second June hearing?
That's
June
like 6
20th.
weeks from now, yeah.
Or we have July 18th.
June 20th or July
Do
18th?
June 20th, please.
Okay, so this is my application, so I'm going to adjourn the hearing until June 20th.
Second.
Mr. Leonard,
Aye.
Mr. Macedonio, Mr. McDonald, Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess,
I
chair votes aye. Okay.
Thank you.
See you on the
Thank you very
20th.
much.
Thanks.
John, just
Good
one thing
night.
before you read it. So Kate, you're in case 4. I'm just gonna read the name, address, tax map number, because it has to be re-advertised.
Okay.
We're gonna re-advertise it for 6/6.
Oh, the JP squared?
Yeah.
Yeah, the mailing was,
6 Wilson,
yeah, the mailing was insufficient.
Okay,
Okay.
so that's,
it's not going to be heard tonight, then?
So, name, address,
Tax number.
I was
tax
ready for
number,
that.
Hamlet.
Yes.
Okay. Number 4 on the agenda, JP Squared LLC, 6 Wilson Avenue, Hampton Bays, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-293-2-8 is going to be re-advertised to the June 6th meeting.
Second.
No, no vote.
Oh, no vote? Okay.
okay.
Oh, that's enough. Yeah, re-advertise. No.
Okay,
Vote.
so
Okay, number 5 on the agenda, Fisher Organization LLC, 17 Cypress Avenue, Flanders, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-142-3-10. Applicant requests a use variance from Town Code Section 330-30, General Regulations as it relates to Section 330-33, Business Districts Table of Use Regulations to construct a one-family dwelling in the Village Business Zone where a one-family dwelling is a prohibited use and any other relief necessary.
Just waiting on an affidavit of posting for this. Good, how are you, Bob? Thank you. The board has jurisdiction.
Okay, hi, are either of you attorneys?
I am an attorney.
Okay, so let me swear you in. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Please state your name and address.
Ray Dickoff, 60 Ida Lane, Acton.
And, I'm sorry, the last name?
Dickoff,
Dickhoff. Okay,
How do you
and,
spell that?
Dickhoff.
and could you please state your name and address?
Robert Merrihew, 250 North Sea Road, Southampton.
Okay. All right, tell us about this application.
This is roughly a quarter-acre vacant lot that's located in Flanders in the BV on Cypress. I'm gonna let Mr. Dickoff discuss more things because he has been hard at labor for many years on this. But there's really nothing that can go there that would be any kind of viable business. And the conflicts between how that land is zoned and the health department's strictures forbid having anything useful there. And it is a residential neighborhood, and a house is the most appropriate thing to put there. I can't imagine that a neighbor or anyone would have any kind of criticism about that. It's, we have a house that's already approved, we have septic approved from the county, the house is less than 1,000 square feet, which fits in.
It's not built. Yeah,
No,
it's
no,
empty, yes,
still-
right.
but we-
Proposed.
Yep, proposed, exactly, and so
Okay.
we have all those plans, and I'll let Mr. Dickoff take any questions you might have.
Approximately 4 years working on this project.
I know, I'm sorry.
No, that's it. The reason why we have the septic approved already is I had filed for a building permit 4 years ago, which was denied because they told me it was in a village business zone, which I was not aware of at the time of filing. But this lot is 11,739 square feet. It's about 150 feet south of Flanders Road. So first, that there is a house next to it, a residential house next to it, then this vacant lot, then another residential house to the south. The village business would allow me to build 70% lot coverage, which would basically give me about a 1,000 square foot building, and the rest would be parking and, and then your roadway to get ingress and egress if it was a business. 1,000 square foot building on your uses that you have in the village business, 3/4 of them wouldn't fit into that. So I'm proposing to build a 960 square foot single family residence. That's what I submitted to the health department. Back then, I did get my health department septic. This property is in the groundwater management zone, protection zone 3. It's also in the Pine Barrens compatible growth area. So as far as putting a business there, there's really nothing we can do that is going to work. It's just not gonna work. So.
Can I ask you, what documentation do you have to show that?
Show what?
That no business is feasible on that lot? I see nothing in the application to suggest that, other than your statement and your addendum.
Well, again, it shows that I can do 1,000 square foot using that lot coverage in your zoning. The permitted use of a church, a park, a public library, a firehouse.
I know, other than looking at the use tables. I mean,
Well-
you state in your addendum, after lengthy and in-depth analysis, literally nothing could work there.
Well, the health department regulations is 300 gallons a minute, or 300 gallons a day. So-
But you're not answering my question.
Well,
Well,
I
yeah.
said, what documentation? Any? Is there any?
I'm sure we can bring you boxes. We've done extensive investigations where we've profiled what we could put there as far as a laundromat, which would seem to be an item that Flanders would.
Right, but if you're proving that that's infeasible, I would think that you would provide that information to the board. Right?
We can provide it.
Right.
I mean, it is a laundromat. You can recognize how much fluid comes out of there. We only clean it
All right, so in
okay.
other words, what he's asking for is something written that kind of states in written form what you're telling us verbally. So in other words, if you've investigated whether a laundromat could be located at that area, then you should talk about the fact that the the water, you know, it wouldn't be able to sustain with the water. I mean, you know, come up with valid reasons why a laundromat would not work there.
Right, and you've stated a lengthy in-depth analysis.
And
so-
you probably have done it, it's just that you haven't documented it for our file. I mean, clearly, this is a difficult piece of property for you to put a business on. I mean, in terms of where it's located, it's right in a residential area, but you have to provide us with some kind of written documentation that shows that it's incapable of earning a reasonable return, and that you couldn't, you know, you have to give us a little bit more than just like a recitation that we've done an in-depth review, but, you know, but without providing us with
And
the
another
documents.
issue that I would want to have addressed is, you say that you could only put 1,000 square foot building on there, but what prevents you from putting a 2-story? That would increase the size, so I'm not entirely sure that.
No, it wouldn't, because when you increase the size, you increase the parking regulations, and the property is not big enough
Right,
to
right.
provide the parking for that building.
Exactly,
Uh,
so
that being-
some
and also
analysis of
the
that
neighbor
would be
to the-
required as well.
On the surveys that we have here, and I have with me, the neighbor to the south is, his house is 4 foot 6 inches from the property line. The neighbor to the north is 4 foot 3 inches to the property line. This is from the old file map that was done. These, to
They're
put a
older
business-
homes, yeah.
to put a business between these two houses.
Right, but also looking at the GIS, the size of your lot is approximately almost double the size of the lots adjoining, adjacent.
Which is.
I just think you need more information in your
I
application.
personally find your arguments, you know, I'm sympathetic to your arguments, but I think in terms of us providing the kind of record that we need, it would be better if you could put some of this down in writing and what the analysis went into it. Like the 2-story, then you have a problem with the parking, like, you know, the laundromat, you have a problem with the water. I mean, you know, whatever it is, I mean, you've done the research. You just need to give us a little bit more in the way of a record.
To show your work.
Yeah, I mean,
Show your work.
Yeah,
There you go.
show
In
your work.
court, we call this taking judicial notice, but I understand.
No, it's not taking judicial notice.
I said.
Whatever it is,
No, I'm a
whatever
lawyer
it
as well,
is.
and it's not taking judicial notice. That's a very different concept.
Absolutely.
All right, well, we don't
Right.
need to get into technical terms. I think you understand where we're coming from.
Yeah, so we also
And
wanted to
and again, speaking personally, I don't necessarily have a problem with this application, but I do want to see a little bit more documentation. We're really supposed to, there are four parts to this test, and you should go through each of the parts and give us written documentation to support it.
I agree with Susan. I don't
Candace, they
have a problem
also-
with it
they-
overall, but I just need to see the documentation as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. Okay, what did you say,
I
Katie?
just was gonna ask Candace, to confirm if it's in the Pine Barrens, we have to refer it to them as well.
I'll double check.
I'm the conservation?
No, to the Pine Barrens Commission.
Oh,
The
Pine Barrens
applicant
Commission.
said it was in a,
Is it
I
in
don't
the
know,
Pine-
compatible
you know?
growth or
It's
something?
in a compatible growth area.
I'll take a look at it.
All right.
And you said,
Can I just chime in real quick?
Please.
Sure.
I believe you said this is gonna be referred to planning. Planning comments will be what they're going to be. They're, have nothing really to do with the test as it relates to what is in this area.
Right.
So the applicant will provide you with some type of analysis. But I have looked at this. Planning's gonna look at the comprehensive plan to see what we say about here. If you look, there are residences all along the highway and then down Cypress. So planning's gotta look at this because he puts a commercial use there. We got transition requirements.
Yeah, I know.
That would not be applicable because it only applies to residential zoning districts and not residential properties. So there's all sorts of planning issues that you should also wait on. That might justify the need to put or justify some other use other than commercial that may not fit into the legal test, but you should get that information.
And I would welcome that information, as would you, I'm sure.
Is it two lots? Is it 2 lots?
One.
Is it?
Yeah.
Madam Chair?
It's 2, it's.
That's originally, but this is the property, yeah, it was 2 lots put together.
Susan,
Yeah.
may I
Yeah,
just ask
absolutely.
one question of the planning staff? So in the Flanders corridor study, was there any, if you could check, was there any particular strategy for this part of the Flanders corridor that draws attention to this property in
Well,
particular?
I'm gonna look to see.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, we will do that. I believe there was some HO or HC or office district zoning that's right on the other side of the road or something. So I wanna look, because that does allow, in that commercial zone, residential uses. So, you know,
Okay, that'd be great.
might be, there's a lot of residences in this area, so.
And I apologize for it being 4 years, it's gonna be a little bit longer, but I think we're getting there. Let me just say, I think we're gonna get there, but we need to have the record to support it.
We appreciate your time.
Okay, who's this?
I have,
Did you have
I just
I
have
wanna
another
also ask the
question.
audience.
So you have a septic system approved for a six-bedroom house already?
Okay,
Would you consider the possibility that if it was upgraded to the advanced treatment standard, that would be a good thing?
IA system?
It's an IA system.
It is an IA
It
system.
is an
It's
IA.
required, we
Okay.
require it.
yeah, it's
We require
required,
it, Kevin.
any new.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure if you had an approval and it was grandfathered for the old polluting ones.
Yeah, no, it used to be that certain areas, and now it's everyone.
Awesome, thank you.
This is an area that really requires that.
Okay, is there anyone
we
in the
know.
audience who wishes
Thank
to
you.
be heard on the application of 17 Cypress Avenue? Is there anyone on Zoom who wishes to be heard on 17 Cypress Avenue? Okay, Helen, it's yours.
Well, you think we should adjourn it?
Yes, we need to adjourn it.
We need to.
But the question is, when should you come back? When do you think you'd be prepared to come back with some of the
I think a
specifics?
sure return date,
June
Sure.
6th, or, well, 5/16 is the next one, and then June 6th.
June 6th, please.
June 6th. Just bring some more
Helen, they want to
work. I mean,
adjourn to June 6th.
Yep.
That's good. And I'd
I
like
understand
to
what you want to do, and it makes sense.
tell the-
All right, wait a second, Helen has something. Okay, just wait 1 second. Helen, go ahead.
I just want to say, I went to see the property, and I can understand what you men are saying about its limitations. So, I'd like to see you bring us whatever we need so that we can all be very happy with what you present.
And when is it up on planning?
Will adjourn after you adjourn?
Yeah, we're going to need to wait on planning to weigh in on it, too.
May 23rd.
Oh, what date, we get,
No, mine. It's May, the second meeting in May, so I think that might be it.
Okay.
Okay, so should we stick with the,
June
You can
6th.
stick with June, I'll have
Okay.
planning board comments. on it.
okay. Okay, Helen, do you want to make a motion?
what is the date we
The
decided?
6th of June.
The 6th of June?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, then we will adjourn this case, till the 6th of June.
Second.
Who's second?
Aye.
Ms. Burgess?
Aye?
Mr. Macedonia?
Aye.
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Mr. Daly?
Aye.
Mr. McDonald?
All right.
Chair votes aye. Okay,
you.
we'll see you 6th of June.
Thanks very much.
Number 6 on the agenda, Eva Wisnowski, 53 Baycrest Avenue, West Hampton, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-358-2-19. Applicant requests relief from the following provisions of the Town Code for an existing swimming pool. 1, Section 330-76D, placement of accessory buildings, structures, and uses in all districts, and Section 330-83C, yards, to allow the swimming pool to be located within the required side yard of the principal building as a result of a proposed addition onto the rear of the house on a non-conforming lot, and any other relief necessary.
The board has jurisdiction. You pass that to John, please.
Okay,
Are
thank you.
are you an attorney?
John?
No,
Okay, let me swear you in. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your name and address.
Eva Wisnowski,
Okay.
P.O. Box 412, Applebach.
Okay, good. And Mr. Bennett, would you like to state your name and address?
My name is John Bennett, and I'm from the firm of Bennett and Reed, 212 Windmill Lane, Southampton, New York.
Okay, tell us about the application.
Thank you. This is side yard relief to maintain the pool on this property. If we are able to see the survey. When the house is currently, the existing residence holds a 19-foot side yard setback. That's 1 foot off the required 20-foot for the principal in this district. But it maintains, if you're just counting the house, it maintains total side yard setbacks of 80.4 feet. So that's very, very generous. What happens when you create this addition here, the addition goes to the west of the house and into the plane of the pool. So as a result of the interpretation of the board that all required side yards be open to the sky, and I've always said the pool is by its nature open to the sky, but be that as it may, and the fact that when you're in the plane of the principal residence, you have to have meet this side yard, both the minimum side yard set and aggregate side yard setbacks. What happens is this existing pool creates a situation where we're 3.2 feet less than the total required side yards. So if we were starting from afresh, we would simply move the pool to the west, but the pool's there. So I don't think it's reasonable, if I may, to request us to move the pool out of the plane of the existing house and the addition. I think it's a very, very minor request for relief. Again, these are very, very generous side yard to the south, about 40 feet, more than adequately meet the aggregate side yards for the house itself. It's just this the existence of the pre-existing pool requires this very tiny bit, if I may, 3.2 feet of relief. It's a reasonable benefit for us to ask for the board not to require us to move the pool. It's an existing pool. It has a certificate of occupancy as shown in the package. And again, if we were starting from anew, which we're not, by merely shifting this pool a little bit to the west, we wouldn't be here for any sort of the relief. So it comes from the interpretation that the yards for both the minimal and aggregate side yards for the principal structure have to be open to the sky, and you can't do any violence to the aggregate side yard for a principal residence if the accessory structure is in the same plane as the house. It isn't now, but with the addition it will be. And of course, I don't think there's any place else where the addition makes sense. You certainly want to have the addition off the rear of the house. The current house is at 35 feet, which isn't bad given the age of this house, because it's only 5 feet off what the current legal front yard setback would be. A lot of these houses really hug the street, but it's fairly close to what the required front yard setback would be. So I think it's a minimal request. I can't see really any detriment to anybody, because none of these accessory structures are coming close. The pool isn't coming closer to anybody. It's this sort of rather quirk of the zoning code, and maybe where if it was a larger lot and there was room for it, or certainly, again, I'm being repetitious, but if we were starting anew and we could put the pool further to the west, we wouldn't be here, but we have this existing pool, we'd like to leave it there, that's all. No relief is required for any of the additions to the house.
What happened to the garage?
What happens to the garage?
What happened to the garage?
The garage, and then I'll go to the garage section of my application. Which again, I remind you that there's nothing in the code, as everyone does, there's nothing in the code that limits the size of an accessory structure. The building department has a policy. They simply want to make sure that no one's making this something other than something accessory to the house. Some codes, for example, the Village of Southampton has a code section that says in the R120 to R40 zone, you can have your accessory structure can only be 895 feet. In the smaller zones, it can be only 595 feet. That's right in the code. There's nothing in the code that per se limits the size of an accessory structure. Do I have a big problem with the building inspector sending it to you to make sure that there are enough limitations to make sure this isn't going to become a guest house or going to become someone's construction site or something like that? That's fine. I think we're going to be able to demonstrate to you that there's no way, because of the conditions that we're going to build this under, that's not going to be anything but accessory. Good news is there's a lot of reduction of pre-existing nonconformities here. That garage that's shown on the north side, which holds about a 1 foot side yard setback, if that, and of course doesn't comply with any of the pyramid laws, is going to be removed. So that's a good thing in terms of reduction of the dimensional nonconformity. And this other shed that's there, it's ghosted over a little bit over the proposed garage with the storage, is also going to be removed. The nice thing about that is that we've done some calculations. Oh, and by the way, I should mention it. Hopefully this doesn't create a problem. Even though our application talks about the request for a determination that this is not accessory, somehow didn't meet your notice. But I think it's covered by any and all other relief.
I think it's not.
Well, given the fact that there is no specific request for a variance.
Well, that's true. You didn't.
I'm not asking for a variance.
Well, but we may require it, based on the fact that we use as a measurement a 25% rule for accessory structures.
Okay,
This is a 67% accessory structure.
Yeah, but it's interesting, it's almost like an interesting intellectual argument. I'm not asking for a variance, I'm asking for a determination that this is clearly an accessory structure from you, because there's nothing in the code that limits specifically the size of the accessory structure. And what that does is that I'm really not here for any variance relief, I'm here because...
Yeah, it's here for an interpretation.
Yeah, yeah.
And the percentage, does it apply to an accessory structure or an accessory apartment?
No, there's no variance that's granted. Typically, remember, typically they're factual findings that you're making. You're
Right.
saying the proposed use, the proposed size is accessory, incidental, subordinate
Exactly.
to the principal use. I mean, if there were setbacks, I mean, first of all, this is an oversight on the building department. It's in the application itself. And I checked with the building department. I said, oh, is there a reason you didn't put this in there? Because he mentioned it, and Art actually had written up a denial letter initially saying he knew. And I said to him today, is it because there's something existing? And he's like, no, I missed it. That being said, if he was asking for a setback, then we might say, we should probably renotice this, because the neighbors could have something to say about the setback. They could have something to say about the pyramid, they could have something to say about the height. You know, I mean, they could say it's not accessory, but it's really more of a fact-finding,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, that's my, that's
And
my
is it correct that
understanding.
an accessory structure does not have a size limitation? I went looking for it.
Yeah, there's nothing in the code.
I didn't see anything
There's
myself.
It's a general rule that's been applied.
I understand, but our
Yeah.
town attorney
No,
is telling
that's
us.
right, it's not maybe.
And I didn't find anything in the
Yeah,
code myself.
I mean,
There's-
my position has always been, I sort of shouldn't be here because there's no limitation on accessory structures. On the
Yeah,
other
why'd
hand,
you
I've
bring it
seen.
up?
What? On the other hand, I can understand why the town wants to keep some control
Yes.
on this, because somebody goes out and builds a 5,000 square foot accessory structure, next thing you know, they have a construction business operating.
So do I
I
assume
get
correctly that you would have no issue with us laying in conditions as to its use?
Well, there's no heat, there's no plumbing. There's no, so it's hard.
And would you allow a condition
Sure,
to
of
that
course.
effect, that there will be no
Absolutely.
heat, no plumbing, no residential use?
Absolutely.
A
Done.
loft for only storage space?
Storage only.
That's it.
Storage only.
Yeah, this is my application. Honestly, I think the pool issue is an unfortunate result of adding the addition, which doesn't require variances itself, so I don't know why we would penalize you for that. And I think you're actually improving the property with removing that frame garage and the shed, and I don't see a problem with any of that.
Well,
And I don't always say that.
the other thing I wanted to say out in terms of, and I thank you for that, in terms of netting out things, what we did was the existing garage, I'm gonna get the numbers straight here. The existing garage is 810 square feet, and it's located 1 foot from the property line, and the detached shed is 187 square feet, so it's 997 square feet. What we did was we took the size of the proposed garage, and I just have this for you right now, because I want you to have all the comfort of knowing this. We took the proposed garage, and it has 896 square feet. The storage area above, we had the architect calculate the area of the space above that's 7 feet or higher. That's the, and it came up with 247 square feet. So if you take the math, our position is that the structure only has a usable floor area of 1,143 feet. Let me hand this up for everybody because I highlighted the architect's calculations. And the net effect of that is we're only 146 square feet of usable area larger than the existing combined accessory structures. So I think that's another thing that you have to take into account.
And you're fixing the setback issue
Yes.
with the current garage. A question, not necessarily relevant, what's the covered porch for?
Excuse me?
What's the covered porch for? On that garage? Yeah,
Oh,
what is that
with
for?
overhanging, because, just to have outdoors, because I'm a gardener as well, and the pool would just be a short walk, just to have,
Hang out,
Okay.
get out of the sun from the
Yeah.
pool.
right, exactly.
No, not that it matters, I just was interested.
It looks nicer.
I just wanted to hand up, a case we handled where the board allowed a much larger combined accessory structure that had a gym in it, had electricity, had a.
When was this? When was that? When was that?
When was it? Moscaludis, 2021. Moscaludis. But again, to allay anyone's concerns about this becoming some, bless you, it's becoming something that it, then other than what it is. Unlike some of the accessory structures that you've granted and some of the relief that you've granted on accessory apartments, no plumbing, bless you, no plumbing and no heating. The big fear is this is gonna morph into something that it ain't, and that's just not gonna happen, so the
Well,
conditions are fine.
we'll lay in conditions that make it.
Well, let's have an opportunity for the rest of us to talk about this. I have no problem with this swimming pool, that's, you just added an addition, you made yourself a side yard, what can I say? So that, to me, is not a problem. I do have a problem with the size of the garage.
Even though it's
I
only
underst-
146 square feet larger
Well, that's
than the
definitely,
combined existing accessory structures, and I'm significantly reducing a pre-existing non-conforming structure that's 1 foot from the side yard.
yes. And I appreciate that, but I still have a problem with the size of the garage. I mean, just personally, I'm speaking for myself. And, maybe it's not written in the code, but we do go by standards that we have followed in other cases, and we go with a 25% standard with flexibility. And I appreciate the fact that you would be willing to, swear that you're not gonna use it for anything other than storage but my question is, any chance to reduce the size? I mean,
We think, given the overall reduction in nonconformities and the fact that you're only dealing with a net change of 146 square feet of usable area, it would be impossible to demonstrate a detriment to the community, which is one of the things that you weigh. You have to show some sort of detriment, so I don't know how, other than your fear that somebody may distort this variance in a case where there would be some sort of electricity or plumbing or heating or something like that in an accessory structure. I don't know how you would show a detriment.
have you heard from the neighbors?
The neighbor to the west is here. Yes, can you stand up?
Yes. All right, well, wait.
To the north, to the
East,
north.
wait.
North.
Not
To the
yet,
north.
I'd have to swear you in.
Okay, I'm sorry. The neighbor to the north is here.
Okay, I want to hear from
Right,
the
hold on.
audience in a minute.
Hold on.
Okay.
So, I went to the property and, the entire neighborhood has garages right abutting the lots. And I think this is an improvement. And honestly, I don't believe that we should be applying unwritten standards, and I don't think we can take a position that in some cases we follow precedent, and in other cases we don't. And I think that the relief being requested here, well, the determination being requested here, I don't think 100 and some odd square feet is,
146.
146
Net,
square
net,
feet
net,
is,
Would change anybody's life.
it going to really make any much of a difference?
Susan, I'd ask you to think about that, because I think that's a little bit of a game changer in this particular
That definitely is a
application.
difference in this
Yeah,
application
yeah.
versus some others.
And I always try to make it so that you can,
Explain the difference.
Explain the difference. How to explain the difference? Small net change, got a lot of existing square footage, and there's a great reduction in the degree of non-conformity.
But look at it like this, you are exchanging a garage right abutting the lot line with 100 and some odd square feet. That to me is an improvement.
And that
I think it's an improvement to the character of the neighborhood. I think it's kind of amazing that all of these garages are like like a foot from the
Well, that's
lot
what people
line.
used to build.
But that's how they used to be
Right.
built.
Right.
Which doesn't make sense. And I would think that the neighbor.
Did at the time.
Yeah, and I think that the neighbor should appreciate
Okay,
removing
well,
these
let's not-
structures from
let's
the lot
not-
line.
The
you know,
the
figure out what
810
the-
square foot existing garage is over your.
I see it.
Is over your standard.
I
It's
see
over
it.
this amorphous sort of
Okay,
standard.
is there anybody
anyway.
else on the board who wishes to be heard on this application? Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to be heard on this application? Please feel free to come up.
Yes.
You have to come up, I have to swear you in.
You can go here, or the podium, sorry.
Come to the microphone there, if you would.
Are you an attorney?
No,
Okay. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your name and address.
Stephen M. Wisnowski, 51 Baycrest Avenue. I am the older brother of the applicant, and we are neighbors. And Mr. Leonard, you hit the nail on the head 1,000%, because that garage, which is falling down, is abutting my property. And it would be a huge, I've been waiting for the hurricane to hit to take it away, but it's never happened. It would be a dramatic improvement to my property as well as my sister's property to remove that. And I have no issue with the garage because I know my sister and I know that there's nothing going on there beyond a car and storage. Her house was built in 1910. My house is next door, was built in 1912. I have a garage which was a pre-existing non-conforming right on the property line with my neighbor to the north. And your point about moving it from there and putting it in the backyard is going to dramatically improve the overall appearance of the neighborhood. And I strongly support my sister's application, as
Okay.
any brother would.
You'd be surprised.
I wanna.
You never know.
This is great.
We've had some.
I have to tell this story.
Uh-oh.
Sure, go ahead.
You're limited, we only have.
No.
I thought I only had
Okay,
3
3
minutes.
minutes.
He's got as much time
Yeah, 9
as me.
o'clock.
I was representing somebody in the ocean, Sagaponic. We were getting variance relief. His sister lived next door, and I said, "I'll just call your sister and get a letter of support." He said, "Don't call her."
All right, well,
It
this
doesn't
is
all-
all right, well,
work out that way.
all right, you're gonna owe him on this one, I can
Yeah.
tell. You know,
get to
that's the
use
kind of
this-
thing that happens with brothers and sisters, I know.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much for
You're quite
coming.
welcome.
Is there
Thank you.
anybody else in the audience who wishes to be heard on this application? Is there anyone on Zoom who wishes to be heard on this application? Okay, John, it's yours.
Okay, I move to close the public hearing of this application, set it for written submissions by 5/17 with a decision on June 6th.
Second.
Thank you. An auspicious day.
Mr. Leonard,
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Mr. McDonald.
Aye.
I'm Trying to get over it.
We're gonna have.
Ms. Burgess.
I
Mr. Macedonia.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Okay.
Thank you very
The
much.
sixth.
Thank you all.
so much.
Okay.
Okay, number 8 on the agenda, Matthew and Tracy Marafi, 79 Inlet Road West, Shinnecock Hills, Suffolk County Tax Map number 900-176-1-6. Applicant requests relief from the following provisions of the Town Code. 1, for a proposed first and second story addition to the dwelling on a non-conforming lot, Section 330-115C, continuance for total side yards of 18.8 feet where 19.6 feet is existing. 2, for the first and second story addition, including second story deck, Section 330-84D, height pyramid for a total encroachment of 6,800.61 cubic feet, existing 585 cubic feet on the west side of the property, and proposed 4,477.56 cubic feet on the west side of the property, and proposed 1,738.05 cubic feet on the east side of the property. 3, for the proposed connection of the existing garage to the dwelling, Section 330-11, Residence Districts Table of Dimensional Regulations for a principal rear yard setback of 26.7 feet, where a minimum of 60 feet is required. 4, for a portion of a one-story deck. 1, Section 330-11, for an accessory side yard setback of 4 feet, where a minimum of 20 feet is required. And 2, Section 330-76D, placement of accessory building structures and uses in all districts, and Section 330-83C, yards, to allow the deck to be located within the required minimum side yard and total required side yard setback for the principal building. And 5, Section 330-77G, placement of accessory building structures and uses in residence districts for the proposed AC units to be located 5 feet from the side property line, where a minimum of 10 feet is required, and any other relief necessary.
The board has jurisdiction. Can you pass that to John, please?
Okay, so I'm gonna, who is not an attorney? Okay, so it's very.
All of us.
Okay,
Raise
who's
it.
this? Robert, this is, no, this is
John.
John's.
John.
Thank you.
Okay, do you guys swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay,
I do.
please individually state your name and address.
Gina Rigdon, DKR Shores, PO Box 488, Hampton Bays, here to represent Tracy and Matthew Murphy.
Okay, so you're Tracy.
Tracy Murphy, 52 Beaumont Place, Fairfield, Connecticut.
Okay,
Matthew Brett, 52 Beaumont Place, Fairfield, Connecticut.
okay. Okay, so you want to tell us about your application?
Thank you for hearing us. I'm here to represent the applicants as 79 Inlet Road West in Southampton, commonly referred right on the border of Shinnecock Hills. It's a non-conforming lot, 16,000 square feet, 0.367 acre in an R20 zone, fronting Cold Spring Pond. The house itself is located in an X zone, but we have AE8 near the waterfront and actually up along the east side. It actually runs along the east side of the lot onto the other lot. The project is a second-story addition with some first-story additions to connect the garage to the existing house. Pre-existing non-conforming setbacks, I have 4.7 to the west property line to the house. There's 4 foot to the existing deck. Everything on the property has compliance, COs, and/or certificates of compliance for the existing setbacks. We're asking for relief for continuance under 330-115 to keep those existing setbacks. So we are doing, we're also proposing a second floor deck. And I was involved in the design of the project. And because the deck is only 4 feet from the west property line, I asked them to pull that back and obviously not do a second story deck over the entire footprint of the first story deck. I also asked them to be mindful to design within existing setbacks, as long as other issues such as lot coverage, not just roofed areas, building department regulates, but total impervious lot coverage. And keep in mind that that only includes the area above the tidal wetland boundary, which is smaller than the actual lot size, which is a maximum of 20%, the most restrictive.
And what's your lot coverage?
It's proposed at 17.7. So it's a highly constrained lot. It's only 61.59 feet wide. And then they have the hardship. They did not create their own hardship because the house, they purchased it the way it was, with the existing setbacks the way they are right now. So they're asking for something pretty standard for the area. It's within the character of the neighborhood. A lot of people, these are all old summer cottages on very small lots, and the small lots were a result from a subdivision back in, mapped in 1925. So they basically broke all of these up and made them really, really skinny waterfront lots. So they're connecting to the garage. They're also doing a small new entry, an outdoor shower, a new sanitary system, a new IA ODOTS system, and a new driveway that's pervious, gravel, putting in all dry wells. So it's much an improvement environmentally as well as aesthetically for the area. I did, like I said, I did ask them to pull the deck back where it was pre-existing, non-conforming. We are asking.
Both levels or just the second level?
The second level.
Okay, but the first level
The
is.
first level is remaining, it's still
remaining.
there.
Okay.
Right, they're not actually going to do anything or, or build that area.
Okay.
So we do realize that we aren't within normal setbacks for this zone. However, I'd like the board to be mindful of chapter 330-83K, of course, which allows 50% reduction to the setbacks from the side and the rear yard, which is your road, as long as it, and we're close to the roadside setback, which the minimum is 30 feet under that particular chapter. So we are at the 26.7, but that, keep in mind, that's to an existing frame garage. So also, because the house is skewed, it is a slight bit closer to the east property line, because we're going from 19.6 to 8.8, and that's only because the house is skewed. But it's basically in a conforming continuous setback of what the house exists right now, basically squaring the house off, if you would. But under chapter 330-83K, we're allowed to go no less than 10. So that's within reason, I think. So the water side, we're good with that. The side, total side yard required under normal, not wetland property, we obviously don't, we would need relief from under the chapter 325 continuum. So does the board have any concerns? I mean, we are asking for, the total seems like a lot, the total encroachment, not including a little piece of the deck, is 6,391.46 cubic feet.
Is the house being raised?
It's going to be held up to redo the crawl space, but it's not actually being raised. So you actually.
We're keeping the existing height.
They're keeping the existing
No.
height.
Okay, so
Which is.
6,000 square feet is far beyond what this board approves.
Well,
Like,
cubic
way
foot.
far beyond what.
Yes, it's cubic foot.
Cubic foot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
6,000 cubic feet is just
Right.
nowhere in the.
Sometimes when you
68.
raise the house, it forces it to meet, flood requirements or whatever.
Right.
Then we would make an exception, but as John said, 6,000, over 6,000 is extraordinary. I've used that word twice today.
So the elevation, curiously, the elevation is actually still only at 26. I mean, they're allowed 32 in the next zone.
Right.
Right,
The
but the height
elevation's
isn't
actually
really the
26.
issue, it's the
Right.
pyramid really, it's the
And
encroachment
it's
into
because
the pyramid.
it's a narrow lot.
It's a narrow lot.
It's a narrow lot, and
It's
we
because it's a
understand
narrow
that, but
lot.
it is an enormous house.
It's 35 feet at the water,
Right.
at the water, so where the frontage is 35.26, that's with the with placing the house where it is existing on the property, it's a very narrow triangle.
Yeah, no,
We couldn't
I
even
know.
get a 32 if we.
We got it.
Right, oh, yeah. And keep in mind that there's actually elevation, there's an AE6 that runs up along the east side of the property.
But how does the AE6 affect you?
It doesn't, but I wanted them to be actually mindful, because what happened is they took, in the design, they needed the extra space because of the mechanicals. The house has been flooded. If it says X zone or not. FEMA hasn't updated their maps since 2009, and I'm not even sure they did this area. So they had to, they actually designed a closet for the mechanicals, because they have to be mindful of the fact that Long Island, you know,
Right, it's gonna
between
flood.
global warming and climate change, the house is going to flood.
Right, but it's not FEMA compliant, it's not, you're not raising it, so
Well, it's
being
not in
adjacent to
FEMA
an AE
technically.
But that's what I'm saying, so the AE6 doesn't impact your application at all.
Right, but it's actually curiously in a zone that is, they call it 0.2% chance, annual chance of flood hazard area. It's actually in a flood hazard area.
But you're not raising the
Right.
house, so
You're
you're
not, but we
not,
did
you're
raise
not
the
taking care of
mechanicals.
the flood, issues.
Right.
If you were raising the house, that would be one thing, but you're
Correct.
not. You're leaving it at the ground level, wherever it is.
And it doesn't sound like you have support for 6,800 cubic feet of pyramid relief, so
We do not.
we don't know what to tell you, you're gonna have to go back to the drawing board and, because
Well,
that's,
we did,
this is
we
not gonna
did,
be.
before I even go
approved.
there, 63, a couple doors down, I have a zoning board decision that they were granted 7,180 cubic foot.
When was it?
This was in 2002.
Yeah, okay. All right,
But
that's,
is that in the flood zone too?
It
And-
was not, it was an X zone,
Okay.
okay,
yeah.
okay. We're in 2024.
Yeah.
So
I
can
mean,
you-
also, this house is a 5-bedroom house.
Right.
Right.
And so putting a 5-bedroom house on a lot constrained as this is, I don't think the slender nature of the lot is going to really change the equation for us.
It's 5 bedrooms, and we also have to think about the parking, which is not indicated on the survey apparently.
It's on
It
the.
act-
On the
it's
revised?
site.
It's on
It's
the
on
site
the
plan.
site plan.
Oh, okay, okay.
Is it? Okay.
Where is it on?
On the site plan from the architects.
Okay, okay. It wasn't on this, so I didn't see it, okay.
Yeah, it's on the, it's page A1 of the
And you,
actual architectural
and you
site
provide
plan.
enough parking spaces, 6?
We have 5.
There's 5.
And it's all right, so what is it, a 5-bedroom house? Okay. 5-bedroom house,
Right.
okay.
So we did brainstorm a little bit.
Okay.
And right now, the ceiling heights in the house are 7 and 10.
7'6" on the left side of the house and 7'10" on the right side of the house.
And then they were going to raise the ceiling height in the first level to 9, and then the second level is 9.
Okay.
What I'd like to see before I start messing with the footprint is how much relief we would need by recalculating to 8 and 8. And then start with that.
We would like to see that as well.
Yeah, I'd like to start with that.
Sure.
And then maybe that would be considerably less. I'm not sure. We'll have to have Todd do the calculations. But before I would rather, pyramid leaf is my big nut, right? Definitely. So that's what we're gonna have to work on. As far as the setbacks, I think it's reasonable and necessary. And if I had to go back and revise all the setbacks, I have to go back and revise all the permits. So I already have, and if you
I'm
grant
not
me-
sure that the concern is with the setbacks.
I don't think so.
No, I know, but I just wanted to submit
Unless
for
there was
written.
public, unless one of the neighbors.
No, we did talk to the neighbors, actually.
Came
Well,
back.
we're gonna ask if there's anybody in
Right.
the audience.
Okay.
Did you get letters from any of the neighbors or not?
No, but I did discuss with, they did
Okay.
talk to their neighbors, they had to sit down and chat, and
Okay.
no one has any problem with the project at
Okay.
all. And I just wanted to submit for the record,
Okay.
environmental approvals,
Okay.
and also health department approvals,
Okay.
and engineering approval, and DEC approval.
Okay, that would be very
So,
helpful.
okay.
Good.
So we'll work on trying to lower that roof a little bit. We're gonna go talk to the architect.
I think it's gotta be a little
Not
more
It's
than
gotta be a little bit more than a little bit.
Not a little bit.
Gina, is this one copy for everybody, or is this just one copy?
It's just for the file,
I don't
one
know
copy
if
for the
anyone
files.
has been in that
I-
neighborhood. Our neighborhoods, I mean, the neighbors' houses.
I went to the property.
At 28 feet finished height, we would still be about 10 feet below the house directly to our west, which is 5 feet off the
Did
property
they
line.
elevate their house because of?
No, that's all
No.
X on there.
Okay.
It's
Strange,
actually-
right?
I mean,
You
Right,
got,
but the thing is that the other properties around it are not as large as that one house.
Right.
And so I don't think we are then going to be
John.
determining this application based on the one sore thumb that
Right.
sticks out.
right,
Okay.
that was,
There's more to
well, okay.
Yeah, there's
All
a
right,
lot
but
in the
you've gotten,
neighborhood,
you've gotten
but
our
we
feedback,
understand.
and let's see if there's anybody in the audience who wishes to be heard on 79 Inlet Road West. Is there anybody on Zoom who wishes to be heard on 79 Inlet Road West?
I would just like to say that I think this is too big a house. 5 bedrooms on such a small lot. I wonder if they could redo the house to make it 1 story. I mean, in addition to the 5 bedroom, you also have a, like a family room. I mean, that's a relatively large house. But such a small lot. And so I wonder what you can do to make this house smaller, maybe 1 story. I don't know. It's up to you to come back to us with something that we find more acceptable. At least I find more acceptable, with less encroachment, definitely.
Okay, so we're not going to be closing this application tonight.
Thank you, Helen.
Yes.
And when would you like to come back?
How long do you think it'll take for you
Well,
to
that's
meet
what
with
you have to
Todd?
figure
I think the question, I think that July would probably be the earliest, given we have to get the architect.
Okay, July
Okay.
18th.
July
What was it,
18th?
July 18th?
John, do you want
Okay,
to?
I'd like to hold this application open to July 18th.
Second.
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia? Mr. McDonald?
Aye.
Mr. Daly?
Aye.
Ms. Burgess?
I
Chair votes aye. Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
July 18th.
Thanks
Have
for
a good
coming.
weekend, thank you.
See you soon.
Number 9 on the agenda, Gary Fitterman, 645 Dune Road, West Hampton, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-391-2-25.1. Applicant requests the following relief from the following provisions of the Town Code for a one-family dwelling. 1. Section 330-6 that references Section 330-11, Residence Districts Table of Dimensional Regulations for principal total side yards from 60 feet to 21.6 feet, and a principal minimum side yard setback from 20 feet to 8.2 feet. 2. Section 330-84D Pyramid Law for total encroachment in the amount of 2,987.79 cubic feet, 2,760.41 cubic feet on the east side, and 227.38 cubic feet on the west side. 3. Section 138-17C, non-conforming buildings and structures, to reconstruct a house in a non-conforming location. 4. Section 330-46B and C, coastal erosion management permit required, effect on zoning regulations. And 5. Section 330-46.3A, for distance from crest of dune from 125 feet to 37 feet for a pool and deck, and from 125 to 50 feet to the house on a non-conforming lot, and any other relief necessary.
Okay, before I get into jurisdiction, do we have Ryan on Zoom?
Pardon me?
Looking for the architect. I just, before, I am gonna say the board has jurisdiction. Candace says we do have the affidavits. Candace says we do have the affidavits. Helen had gone out to the property the other day and noticed that the sign was down. This is an oceanfront property, and so I had called the architect to let him know the sign was down, and I told him, you know, he would, you know, it's up to him to fill out the affidavit. I'm being told he has filled out the affidavit, so I'm sure Ryan can tell you that he probably put the sign back up, but I just want to let you know, sometimes we do have questions about jurisdiction. If Ryan has attested to it's been up, you know, the burden is on him, and, you know.
Katie, doesn't the sign have to be up for 10 consecutive days?
Yes, I just told the board that, Helen, that you had noticed it was down. I notified the applicant.
What's in the
I'm assuming that Ryan can tell us, you went back out and put it back up, or somebody did, right, Ryan?
Yes, actually, I'm Michael Rubenstein.
Oh, okay.
Ryan Kessner.
Okay, Michael did.
Yes, and I actually found the the sign in the garbage and repost it.
Okay, and
That's
then,
it.
all right, so Susan, can you swear him?
Acceptable, Katie, is that acceptable? If it was, it could have been down to 2 or 3 days.
Okay, but the applicant has signed the affidavit of posting attesting that it's been up, Helen, so that's, you know, that's sufficient.
Okay, Mr. Rubenstein, are you an attorney?
No.
All right, then let me swear you in. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, would you please state your name and address?
Sure. Good evening. My name is Michael Rubenstein, architect with Ryan Kessner Architect PC, 509 Country Road, County Road 39, Southampton, New York.
Okay, you want to tell us about the application?
Absolutely. The property is located within R40 zoning district. The lot area is 22,528 square feet, or 0.517 acres. The lot is split between an AE7 and a VE16 flood zone, and therefore the VE16 is the predominant flood zone for this property. The proposal is to demolish the existing dwelling and construct a new 4,305 square foot, 2-story home with a garage and storage area in the lower level. We have filed with the Suffolk County Department of Health, application number R21-2047, and they are awaiting the New York State DEC and town wetlands approvals before approving our application. With respect to the variances being sought today, I offer the following. 330-6 references 330-11, principal, minimal, and total side yard setbacks. The principal total side yard reduction from the required 60 foot to 21.6 feet, and a principal minimum side yard setback from 20 feet to 8.2 feet. The proposed dwelling will conform to the side yards currently established by the existing dwelling. No further encroachment into the side yards are proposed. To conform with the required side yard setback would mean that the house would be only 10 feet wide, since the lot is 70 feet wide. 330-84D pyramid law for a total encroachment in the amount of 2,987.79 cubic feet, 2,760.41 cubic feet on the east side, and 227.90 cubic feet on the west side. The constraints of the site are contributing to the need to request permit relief. The site is 70 feet wide and is one of the narrow lots in this area. Our office has worked diligently to work within the permit with design tiers on the second floor in order to limit the amount of relief requested. This board is aware of the constraints in this area of West Hampton Beach. Several variances have been granted for permit relief in the vicinity of the client's property. Specifically, decision number B015187 for 642 Dune Road, West Hampton Beach, New York, on December 17, 2015, which granted relief for 3,786 cubic feet, which is greater than the relief requested by this application.
Could you please speak up a little bit? We're losing you.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm sorry, that decision referenced another decision, D011958, 638 Dayton Road on July 20, 2006, which granted relief for 2,046 cubic feet of relief. Our request is consistent with past ZBA decisions granted by this board. Section 138-17C, non-conforming buildings and structures to reconstruct a house in a non-conforming location. Again, several factors have contributed to the location of the proposed dwelling. The side yards were previously established by the former dwelling and we're maintaining them. The proposed house is set further back off the Dune Road than the previous house, the existing house. We can't maintain the required 125 foot from the crest of the dune, since that would put us too close to Dune Road, with no real opportunity to develop this parcel. Additionally, the C-Hall line is located approximately 35 feet from Dune Road. This is also contributing to the siting of the proposed dwelling. We are locating the proposed septic system as far away from the water as possible. 33-46B and C coastal erosion management permit required effect on zoning regulations. As mentioned previously, the Sea-How line is located forward of our building. We have attempted to set the house as far back from the water as possible to mitigate the coastal erosion effect. Establishing the front setback for the proposed dwelling was determined using the setbacks for the proposed septic system. The health department requires certain setbacks from septic tanks and leaching pools, which the SAE conforms with. 33-46.2A, the distance from the crest of the dune from 125 feet to 37 for a pool and deck, and from 125 to 50 feet, the house on a non-conforming lot. As previously mentioned, the required 125 feet from the crest of the dune would put us too close to Dune Road. We're holding the same setback as established by the adjoining properties for the pool and deck, several of which are actually closer to the water than our proposal. With respect to the 5 considerations of a variance, are of the following: whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood. Most of the properties adjacent to or in the vicinity of the subject parcel are fully developed. Several of them are on similar or slightly larger lots. Many of them are larger than proposed. Therefore, it is in our opinion that there will not be an undesirable change to the character of the neighborhood. 2, whether the benefits sought by the applicant to be achieved by some other method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than an area variance. The site is an existing non-conforming lot. Additionally, the constraints with the lot width, Sea-How line, crest of dune, and zoning do not permit development without seeking some sort of relief from this board. Our office has worked diligently with staff to come up with a reasonable request and reduce the intensity of the variances requested. Whether the requested variance is major or as opposed to minimal, we believe the requested variances are in keeping with the surrounding properties. 4, whether the proposed variance will have an adverse effect or impact of the physical and environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district, and the neighborhood is predominantly built up with one-family dwellings similar to larger sizes to that which we are proposing today. We've worked with staff as per their suggestion to keep as much of the existing vegetation in place wherever possible. Any required revegetation will be in accordance with the improvements. 5, whether the alleged difficulty is self-created, which consideration shall be relevant to the decision of the Board of Appeals. The development of this parcel is encumbered by several factors. The site exists as a non-conforming lot. The lot is only 70 feet wide, and therefore it would be difficult to meet the required setbacks. The required 125-foot setback from the crest of the dune put us too close to Dune Road. These factors are beyond anyone's control, and therefore we have no alternative other than requesting relief from this board. In conclusion, based on the evidence submitted, we don't believe the granting of this variance will have a negative impact on the surrounding property. If there's any questions from the board, we'll have
Okay, Bob, this is yours. Do you have any questions to
No,
start us off?
I know the area well. I know the way it's been developed and redeveloped. It seems it'll be a great improvement of what's there. So I honestly don't have any issues with it. The pyramid relief does not seem to be too excessive, in my opinion.
Right, right.
I have a question. So if the house is raised, is it by, am I reading the plans correct, by 10.6? 10.6 or 10.8 feet? Is that correct?
We're trying to meet the DE 16, and we have to raise it 2 feet to freeboard above that. So we're at, our finished floor elevation is gonna be 18.25 feet, and we're gonna be about 10.5 above the existing.
Okay.
What's
That's a significant amount.
Yeah.
Yes, no, I know. What
In
is
New York,
the?
you have to be 2 feet above.
Yeah, the freeboard, yeah. What are the ceiling heights on the 2 stories? 3 stories?
Yeah, sure, the lower level where the garage
Right.
and mechanicals would be is 10 foot 3, I believe. And then the first floor will be 10 foot, and the second floor will be 9 foot.
And is that meeting the FEMA or is that exceeding the FEMA?
The first floor of the basement.
Yeah.
Yes, this is all in compliance with the.
No, does it exceed FEMA, or is it just meeting the requirement, the minimum requirement?
We're meeting the minimum.
Yeah, it's 8 plus 2. I'm looking at the survey, I'm having trouble finding some information on the survey. I'm not sure I'm looking at the right survey. The one I'm looking at is dated July 24th, 2023. Is that the last survey?
It may very well be. I think yours is newer than the one I have, which is November 13th, 2020.
All right, it says, I can't find on the survey the distance from the crest dune from 125 to 37 feet for pool and deck. I don't see that, and it looks like 51 is on this chart for the house, but is this an accurate survey? That's my question.
I will certainly confirm that for you.
Okay.
Okay, we did get a memo from the building department. I don't know if everybody saw that.
No.
It was dated, was it in the subs today? Yeah, so there was in our submittals is a memo from the building department basically saying that they don't need relief from 33046 because it's not in the adjacent area. The whole construction is within the coastal erosion hazard area, so they don't need relief. I mean, you should have those setbacks on the survey anyways, but we don't need relief from that.
Right.
But we do need in written submissions, all of the standards for meeting a variance from chapter 138. Because that has its own separate standards, and I didn't see that in the submission.
I'm sorry, Katie, could you say that again?
Yep, because they're asking for variances from chapter 138, which means new construction within the coastal erosion hazard area, that section of the code has its own standards. You've seen it before. Usually Mr. Bennett will submit it and there's, no federal funds have been used and, there's no alternatives, but there are standards that they need to meet
They need
in order.
they need to acknowledge
Yes.
and say that they meet those standards.
Yes, and typically it requires a retreat. Has this house moved further away from the dunes? It's hard to tell on the survey.
Have we moved further away from the?
Yeah, has there been a retreat? Because we're gonna refer this to the Coastal Erosion Hazard Administrator, and that's something she's gonna ask.
Okay, we'll confirm that as well.
That looks like it's moving closer.
Does this go to Conservation Board or no?
It goes to the Coastal Erosion, it goes to Janice, because she administers.
Janice, Marty,
Okay,
and a few other people.
okay, so they need to also take a look at this application?
Yeah,
All right.
but like I
so-
said, that's one of the things that they're gonna ask.
Yeah. Okay, so
Kevin
this,
has
Can I ask a question?
yes, of course, Kevin.
When does the planning staff, if they do, confirm the dune crest shown on the survey is actually the dune crest in the field?
Yeah, that doesn't actually get confirmed by planning, all that gets confirmed by Marty's office, the environment.
Okay.
Commission.
Is there a way to get that
Conservation.
verified? And partly because, to your point, I mean, this is like right up to the edge as if there's never a storm and there isn't sea level rise and any other things that are happening all over the rest of the world. Now, I'm concerned about the mass, and I'd appreciate it if there could be a real effort to pull this back further and then see where we are.
I think that Mr. Rubenstein said that the septic fields are in the back, and that makes it difficult to pull it back.
Well,
I mean, it's certainly worth looking at if there is any room for
And
further
it's
retreat.
the deck, so, I mean.
Yeah.
It's
True, you
it's-
could
it's
reduce the deck
abuts
and the
the
pool.
limit of clearing. It's not at the top, at the crest of the dune, it's at the limit of clearing, but it is a deck, so it would be reasonable to pull that back.
So, I mean, I think that would be something that you and your clients should consider. But we have a lot of other things that have to get done before this application is voted on by this board.
So I'm not looking
All right, so Katie, let's just go through it. They have to go through the coastal erosion hazard administration.
We're gonna refer it to them. So we'll
Okay.
refer it to, you know, the coastal, we'll refer it to Janice, we'll refer it to Marty, I think we refer it to the town board.
It's the town board, town supervisor, Marty, Janice, town attorney's office,
All right, so,
and Suffolk County Planning Commission.
okay, so what are we
And the
talking?
DEC I'm sorry, and the DEC, and they've all been done.
So by 2030, you should have an answer.
So we need to, like, if we're going to adjourn this application, it has to be adjourned for a considerable period of time?
No, like, you know, like 2 meetings is sufficient. I mean, you know, Janice usually responds quickly, but what I'm telling the applicant is oftentimes she's gonna say, I'd like to see a retreat. Can you show me that you've retreated?
Right.
I mean, I don't, you know, same thing with the pool, you know, those are the things that they're gonna be looking at.
This is not a retreat.
This is just keeping it kind of like where it is already. Yeah, I mean,
It's-
essentially, yeah.
Like I said, that's
know, I
just
looked at the
something that
pictures.
they should be prepared for.
Yeah.
You know, or the board can just say, like you said, retreat or scale back the deck. I mean, you don't have to wait for the coastal erosion hazard administrator to say it. You guys can say it too, but.
Well, I
Pull it
think
back a
that-
little from the line of clearing.
I think that, I think you've gotten that reaction from the board. So. Okay,
There's a lot of other people to talk to.
yeah, a lot of people. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to be heard on 645 Dune Road? Is there anyone on Zoom who wishes to be heard on 645 Dune?
We have someone on Zoom.
Okay. Okay.
Everything's really sensitive.
Okay, hi. Are you an attorney?
Yeah.
You are?
No,
No,
she said no.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, please state your name and address.
My name is Jonathan Hollenberg, 643 Dune Road, West Hampton Beach.
Okay, Mr. Hollenberg, would you like to give us your comments?
Susan, just ask
Yes,
the last name.
Excuse me 1 second. Could you spell your last name?
Hollenberg.
Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I am the neighbor to the east of the property in question. And I just wanted to say, first of all, thank you for the board, for the opportunity to speak. I wanted to preface my comments by saying also that I respect my neighbor. I appreciate his interest in expanding his property. That said, I've had no conversation with my neighbor about the extent of his plans, nor have I been able to see the plans, since I haven't been out to the house except for one day in the past 6 months. In listening to, this is my first time hearing this board adjudicate, in listening to the requests relative to the 7 or 8 requests I've heard prior to this discussion, this is the most excessive encroachment of all of them that we've been hearing. And I think it's rather excessive, and I'm a little bit shocked that the
You mean
board
the pyramid encroachment?
The encroachment on the dune,
Okay.
the encroachment on the side from 60 to 21.6 feet. Do you understand what the percentages on that are? From 20 feet to 8 feet? From the crest of the dune, 125 feet to 37 feet?
Right.
These are more excessive than any percentages of anything we've discussed all night. And I appreciate my neighbor wanting to do something and beautify his house. I would love to be able to do that too. But there are a few things that I want you to all know. On that side encroachment, whether he has a 70-foot lot or a 250-foot lot wide doesn't mean anything when you're encroaching to 8 feet. He is gonna be right on top of me. It just because his lot is wide doesn't make it so that he should be able to go further into encroaching on that, side lot. Additionally, and what most concerning, I don't know how familiar all of you are with the beach in this area. It is highly sensitive. We have
25 years ago, there was a jetty that was put in front of our house that was buried by the Army Corps of Engineers. In the past year, that jetty has been fully exposed. We've suffered enormous erosion, and we now cannot actually even get to the beach because of the height of a cliff that's been set in. This is the house, and I've lived in this house since 1972. My father built the house in 1972. He's still alive today at 98. He would be here if he could. The house has never moved. I've known all the prior neighbors. What they're seeking to do is because of the sewer, is to extend the deck and the pool into the dune, which would further damage the dune and cause risks for all properties around us. Furthermore, I wanted to comment on a few things that were mentioned by the attorney. All of the houses which he cited for that received variances are on the bay side of the road. 642, 638, they're both on the other side. They have wider lots, they are separated from each other, and there's a lot of space between them. That is a little bit different than where this house sits. Secondly, he cites that there was other properties that have gone into the dune, and that is correct. At 639, I'm assuming this board heard an appeal from 639 for a variance of a pool into the dune. That led to some extended litigation between 639 and 641. And by the way, they don't talk anymore, and my 639 still harbors anger over what happened, and I'm not sure what the board's role in that was. But I just want to make the case, and I'm not making a case, I'm just letting you know one perspective, that I appreciate what my neighbor wants to do. I would love to see him do something, but what I'm hearing tonight is very concerning to me, and I would love for you to come out and see the property in order to be able to put it into context. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hollenberg.
I would agree with the neighbor that these setbacks are excessive. 60 feet to 21 feet and 20 feet to 8.2 is a lot. And I personally, to get to a yes, would want to see a significant reduction of the setbacks.
Well, and we did talk about the fact that we wanted a further retreat from the dune crest as well.
Exactly. But I'd like to add into the mix a reduction of the setbacks.
And I would like to say that I was a little concerned when Mr. Rubenstein referred to this variance as a minimal variance, because I went to the property, and what he's asking, I'm not a yes on this, unless he makes some major changes. Just to give you my.
Helen, are you concerned about the pyramid relief as well?
I'm concerned about the dunes.
The dunes.
That's my biggest. I am sort of very understanding about what Mr. Hollenberg has to say. And I think those issues have to be addressed before we can come to any decision. That's only my one vote.
Well, we listed everybody who else has to see this, and I think that these concerns are going to be echoed by other people than us as well, so.
I think a reduction in the setbacks will also alleviate some of the pyramid relief.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Kill two birds with one stone.
Well, the one thing that struck me about the pyramid relief is that we're talking about 10-foot ceilings and 9-foot ceilings
Yeah.
on the
Correct.
first and second floor. So while the amount is, isn't as horrifying as some of the other figures we've seen tonight and other nights, it's still high ceilings. And, I'm a little bit concerned about that. It's just,
Right.
Okay, so I think there has to be some work done on this. And, Robert? I'm sorry, is there anybody else who wishes to be heard on this application? I think, Mr. Rubenstein, you've heard some of our comments and some of our concerns. So, Yes.
And can I say one more thing?
Sure.
I received a letter from Marty Shea that lays out some of his concerns, and there are 19 concerns. I don't know, I think the other board members received that too.
I didn't, you know, Helen, I looked, I did not see that, but,
Thank you, but
did you see it? No, so Helen, we have not seen that letter. You know, you asked me about that before, and I didn't realize, I have not seen that letter.
Dated, March 7, 2023.
23.
Yes, so I'd like to know if, when Mr. Rubenstein returns, if he could tell us how he's coming on addressing those 19.
We don't have, Helen, we don't have that letter. Nobody has that letter. That's from 2023. The application wasn't even
Wow.
scheduled yet.
It wasn't scheduled, it was probably not scheduled. It definitely wasn't scheduled.
Okay, so-
He can't address it, nobody has it, but we'll, you can send a copy to me or Candace.
So that everybody sees it, I think that, then we can talk about that also.
Okay.
Okay.
Part of the issues that Mr. Hollenberg, and I want to thank you, Mr. Hollenberg, for taking the time to come and discuss with us your concerns, because they are very, very relevant to us, at least to my decision.
Thank you, Mrs. Burgess.
Okay, so there are some corrections on the survey, some notices on the survey. But before you even do that, I think you need to take a look at some of the comments you received tonight and see if there can't be a modification to the application. And it's gonna go through a process. So what are we talking about in terms of timing? We're gonna obviously adjourn this hearing.
Well, it'll have to be July, because right now you have
All right.
12 and 14 on there.
Okay, July 18th.
So it'll have to be July 18th.
July
That
18th?
referral was just done on May 1st, so.
Okay.
You'll get additional comments from them.
Okay, so, Bob, wanna make a motion?
Okay, be my application to adjourn the entire matter to July 18th.
Second.
Mr. Macedonio?
Aye.
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Mr. McDonald?
Aye.
Mr. Daly?
Aye.
Ms. Burgess?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
John, did you say that?
Yes, I did. I had to remember, I'm like.
Just want to make sure I wrote it correctly.
Okay, move right along. We got it.
All right.
Okay, number 11 on the agenda, Pine Neck Realty, hold on. Oh, yeah. Pine Neck Realty LLC, 2 Oak Road, Noyak, Suffolk County Tax Map number 900-5-5-67. Applicant requests, oh, sorry.
That's it. You guys save some more.
Good evening.
Hi,
How are you this
you?
evening?
We've sworn you in before.
Before you guys start, did everybody look through your written submissions?
Oh,
Yes.
Because we also got a written submission on this. Susanna got it, but I want to make sure the board has it too.
Okay, so.
So that
you
we're
just
all
got
on
it
the same
tonight?
page. Yes, this was just because Susanna had submitted those revised plans and we weren't sure if the building department had looked at them, and so the building department looked at them and revised the revised the request for relief, just so you know what's before us now.
Okay. All right, so do you want to go through it
So
for us?
it doesn't make sense to read what's on the agenda because we changed the project twice since then. And I submitted revised plans, which you should have on April 12th.
Yes, we have.
So, good.
Yep.
I've also done just a supplemental letter, which I'm gonna hand up. This isn't really much brand new information, but it's a summary, and I go through the 5 points, so that
Okay,
we
good.
have that on the record. And I quote in there, I think about 16 or 17 different previous decisions that speak to the character of the neighborhood. I've already submitted all of those copies of those decisions, those determinations, and the surveys that go along with them. So you should already have that in your file.
Oh, sorry. That's me.
Yeah. I was like, who's the lead? Am I the lead?
So,
Hold on.
Okay, so go ahead.
So, I know we have a new member here tonight, so I don't want to repeat myself too much. I'm sure you'll go back and listen to the tapes. But just to refresh everyone's memory, we submitted an application to demolish the existing house and build a new house.
And 3 accessory structures.
There are also, which I can get to in a minute, there are 3 accessory structures on the building which are also to be demolished. Since that time, we have listened to the feedback from the board, reduced the house, and then we listened to all the feedback from the community and reduced the house some more. So that's what we submitted on April 2nd, and I can go through just generally what those reductions were.
Okay.
We've reduced the proposed coverage. It was 29.6% that we were proposing. We're now proposing. He should have a copy. Everyone has a copy. We're now proposing 24.8% coverage. The house footprint has been reduced to 2958 square feet. I'm sorry, from 2958 square feet to 2478 square feet. We reduced the height of the second story portion. You know, part of the house is 2-story, part of the house is 1-story. The second story, the 2-story portion we reduced. So the height of that portion of the house has been reduced to 29 feet 4 inches. We reduced the square footage overall, and we reduced the square footage specifically of the garage. That's where most of the square footage came from. We reduced the garage by 273 square feet. We reduced the second floor by 328 square feet. We reduced everything all over was shrunk. We reduced the first floor living space by 207 square feet. So the total habitable space went down 535 square feet. And the volume of pyramid has gone down 1,599 cubic feet
From the second submission.
from the second submission.
It went down.
So the total now is 360.
It went down 92% from my first
Only
submission.
316 cubic feet are left of the pyramid.
That reduction is much appreciated.
Thank you.
Much appreciated.
Yeah, the first submission for pyramid variance, we were requesting 3,607 feet of relief.
Yes, so we-
It's now 316.
Amazing, thank you.
So
Thank you for the
we
advice.
shrunk it all over. That was what
You did.
the feeling that we got from
And
the
I know,
neighborhood.
you know,
We
it's
got a
not what
lot
you
of,
wanted to begin with, but
It was a painful process, but we got
very
through it.
painful. So, Art Gerhauser did a synopsis of the variances that we now need. I don't know if we need to read them, but I think the property line setbacks changed a little bit. Those are about the same as the original.
Except, can I raise one point? So the two property lines where there would be neighbors interested, my neighbor to the east, the first submission, we were 16 feet away, it's now 19.3. Where we were 11 feet away, it's now 16. Where we were 10 feet away, it's now 14.
So you increased the
So we pulled the house in,
Reduced it back,
and we gave more buffer.
Okay.
So,
Sounds like you've been working at this diligently.
we have,
Well,
and I think.
I have here a canceled check from last February that was returned to me because by the time we got on here, so we've been working on this for a while.
We'll join the rest of the group.
Yes,
Come
yes.
before us
No, I
tonight.
appreciate-
mean, everybody's been working on this
I appreciate your
for-
volunteer.
Heard the gentleman earlier, 4 years.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Significant reductions. I really appreciate all the work that you put into it. I think that, I'm not as concerned as I was originally. There seemed to be a lot of neighbor opposition to this. There still may be, but I think you've done a really good job in trying to reduce your application. Is there anybody else who wants to
Yeah,
say anything?
I'm equally pleased, and I have no problem with it as it is now.
Thank you.
I said my piece.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
So
I'm good with it.
I think if you read through the letter that I submitted tonight, I think a lot of the concern that we heard from the neighbors was that the house was too big for the neighborhood.
Right.
We've reduced it significantly, but what I've also done is gone through property by property in Pine Neck and highlighted a few cases where there are houses just as big or just as big proportionally for their lot. For example, at 10 Oak Road, there was a variance granted 2021. They're at 25.1% coverage, 5,408 cubic feet of pyramid, and that house is almost as big as what we're proposing here, but the lot is half the size. So proportionally, we're at less impactful coverage and house volume relative to that house. And there are multiple examples that are similar.
Is this still a two-car garage, three-car garage?
It's a two-car garage, but it is a doorway so I can walk in.
So there's 2 cars and
It's
some
two
storage.
bays.
One thing I would like to point out, which maybe I wasn't clear enough before, is that because we're on a slab, because groundwater is shallow there, and there's no basement, on a slab, there's no storage in the basement, and no mechanicals. So there's room on the first floor for mechanicals. There's only 2 bedrooms, 1.5 baths. It's really like a small cottage plus a garage with a rec room above.
One of the structures I'm taking away, the accessory structures, actually has an air conditioner and heat in it as well. We're removing that.
We're removing.
None of them had a CO. None of the 3 structures had a CO. They were just built and I'm taking them out.
Right, but they show on the Nathan Corwin survey.
Right, I remember
There are
them.
3 sheds that are within a foot of the mutual property line. You can see the neighbor has sheds right on the property line as well.
He has 4 sheds and a detached garage.
Well,
I'm not
if
sure.
the sheds don't have COs, then it's not persuasive at all.
Right, well, thank you
Seven.
very much for doing your duty.
We have vastly improved the aesthetics of this property by
Well,
cleaning
and
up.
Susanna, as you can see, there's 4 new members of this board right now. And, you know, things change over time, and so you're seeing.
You've been living with that.
Yeah.
I have
Yes,
some
you
growing
have.
pains from living
Yeah.
with that right now.
Okay, anybody else on the board?
I have just one question. So it looks like, looking at the south elevation, the area C is the largest encroachment. That's a dormer?
What page are you on?
I'm on
10
page
dot-
10.7.
10.7.
It's a little peak in the roof.
It's a little
Yeah.
peak, so just to give that area of the upstairs some headroom.
Somewhat?
Headroom.
Headroom. Okay. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to be heard on the application of 2 Oak Road, Pine Neck Realty? Please.
John, were you looking at this?
I was 10.7.
Have I sworn you in before? Okay. Are you an attorney? Yeah. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, please state your name and
Kathy
address.
Loscalzo, it's Loscalzo.
What was your first name?
Kathy.
Kathy.
K. I'm speaking for Sherry and I, Sherry I and
What's your
Strickland.
address?
11 Briar Lane in Noyak, Sag Harbor. If you're sending me a bill though, New Jersey, but we're here all year. We're here all year round. So, you know, nobody wants to be the boogeyman in the room, you know, to a neighbor or anything else. And we're nurses, we're not engineers. But, you know, I think the Noyak Citizens Committee, you know, hit the nail on the head. This is a very big structure, and we don't see it as a hardship. I mean, if you want to park your boats, there's a marina. I think your property's on the water. I just we don't feel comfortable with, it's kind of an amorphous, what else can happen to this structure. We're also concerned about the water table. I know it's customary to connect people to town water. but we have pristine, above EPA, free water, and it's not something we want to do. And we just feel it's excessive for what the actual structure is going to be used for. When the boats are on the water, where, you know, what's going to be parked there? You know, these are our concerns. And I'll let other people speak more to the sizing, and I know you've all been looking at this a lot. We do appreciate there was a reduction, but we just don't feel it's enough to really conform with the other structures around there. And it really isn't a hardship. There's been other variances, and we haven't said anything about them. They're for families that, you know, want more have children and want bigger space and that kind of thing, but this is totally different. So, I'm sorry, but no.
Okay. Thank you,
Have the
Kathleen.
neighbors all seen the most recent
I
adaptation?
don't know.
I actually skimmed it. I think it just came in on Monday, so
Okay.
I have an idea of what it is.
Okay.
We dropped it off here. When did
And
we drop
the
it
septic,
off?
our septic tank is about, I have to estimate that, I think it's 30 to 40. We're on the corner of Oak and Briar, and our well is on that corner. You know, it's in, but it's on that corner, and I think the septic tanks are on the Oak side,
Okay.
catty corner to that.
Thanks for your comment.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else in the audience who wishes to be heard? Okay, come up. Have I sworn you in before?
I don't believe so.
Okay, are you an attorney?
No,
Okay. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your name and address.
My name is Courtney Roush, and I reside at 70 Pine Neck Avenue. I'm just around the corner from...
Just spell your last name, just so I have it.
Absolutely. It's going to be Courtney with a C, and it's Rauch.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm also speaking on behalf of my grandmother, Susan Melville. She was the homeowner of that residence. So the reason I come here today is I saw the original plans. I haven't seen the new plans, however, hearing the numbers, I was pleasantly surprised that it was reduced as dramatically as it was. However, these are small lots, and we are a small community. We do have a lot of new buildings that have gone up in the recent years that, in my taste, are a little bit larger than I would like, but I'm not the ruler of the roost. However, with this, I do feel that it's large and it's recreational. You know, I don't feel that anybody should need a third residence in a matter of 3 blocks, and specifically for, you know, the housing of toys and things like that, especially with what's going on with the housing requirements out in Southampton with residents who have been pushed out, even employees who can't find housing. So those are the things that I really wanted to bring up in regards to this. I would love to see those new drawings. I haven't yet, but yeah, that's all I have to say right now.
Thank you.
Thank you, Courtney. Is there anybody else who wishes to be heard?
Yes, I do. Go ahead.
I don't believe I've sworn you in, have I?
No.
Okay.
I've never seen, no.
Okay. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. I
Please
do.
state your name and address.
My name is Susan Melville, Melville, and I'm at 70 Pine Neck Avenue. I happen to live the Ocons live across the street from me. They have 2 beautiful houses. The problems that have arisen is they seem to build large houses on small parcels. They have a lot of children, and their children have friends. So you got 4 children, 3 boys and a girl, all have cars. Then they invite their friends to come and spend time, and they all have cars.
We need to really address the application and what's before us.
Absolutely. The house is too big for the property.
In your
And,
opinion.
excuse me?
In your opinion.
No, in everybody's opinion that has signed 162 in the residence.
I understand, but it's easy to get a coalition together and go against somebody if that's what you intend to do. And that's honestly, in my opinion, that's what seems like is going on here. The gentleman has worked very hard to reduce this down
I understand that.
drastically. And no matter, if he wanted to put a teepee on there, you're gonna
No,
oppose it.
no, I don't think that would, a teepee would work,
Okay.
really. Thank you.
That's my opinion.
Okay, thank you.
That's
Anybody
my
else in
opinion.
the audience? Okay, I have sworn you in, but please state your name and address.
Sure, my name
Yeah.
is Richard
Oh, yeah.
Violin.
All right.
I live at 60 Noyak Road, Sag Harbor, New York.
And you're not a contiguous neighbor?
I'm
You're
sorry,
not, you're
nobody
not an
is.
adjacent neighbor?
Yes, I am.
Oh, you are, okay, I'm
Yes, I
sorry,
am.
on Noyak Road, yes, okay.
Before I start, I'd just like to pass out my talking points to the boards. so they can follow.
Are you pressed on, could you move your papers, please, from the microphone? Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They were
And
just- they
you'll
were
have
reverberating.
3 minutes, sir.
Okay, I just don't understand why other people were allowed to speak more, but that's fine.
We didn't need to time them.
Okay.
I timed them and they all came in under a minute.
Okay, good evening. Once again, I'm here to represent not myself.
Oh, wait.
I think it's your, I think it's your case.
Now,
No?
I didn't do it.
I think maybe it's, yeah, you're,
We'll
that'd
start
be
you
better.
over again, how about that?
Okay. Good evening. Once again, I'm here not just for myself, but many of the wonderful Pine Neck neighbors. The 104 people who signed the first petition, the people who wrote dozens of letters into, and plus the Citizens Committee, Advisory Committee. Tonight, I'm presenting a second petition with 62 signatures. That's a total of 166 neighbors. And this is a summer community who are still not here. So if you want more signatures, I will get them for you. But I think we drove the point home. The people don't want this. It is clear the neighborhood does not want this, what we call a warehouse. This is a building that this simply does not conform to the neighborhood. Therefore, we must, again, say we're objecting to the building at 2 Oak Road for being over the 20% maximum lot coverage. This is an established requirement, and therefore anything over 20% is unacceptable to us. We are objecting to the pyramid law, even though it was reduced significantly. We are objecting to the building not meeting the setback requirements. Please note the rear of the setback is 30 feet, not 10 or 11 or whatever. It's 30 feet. That's on my side. I have a copy of the Southampton dimensional requirements, if you'd like to review them. We object to the variance simply not because it's a hardship type variance. This variance requests to keep luxury toys in it and to have a playroom. Again, the warehouse is over 2,600 square feet and 2 times larger than the average size neighborhood house. Again, this is not a hardship or variance. The building size alone is 4,101 square feet. I have the numbers, I can do math. This is essentially 3 homes, require 1,300 square feet. It's a 10,000 square foot lot, it's small. Again, the building is over 20, any building over 20 maximum lot coverage, this is still at 1.24, which is 1/4% over the maximum lot. So therefore, it does not meet the requirements. This is new construction. Madam Secretary, you came and looked at the house yourself. You know that this 4,100 square foot building is not acceptable. 20% maximum coverage
I'm
is
sorry,
alone.
what did you say the square footage of the building was?
It's 4,001 foot.
Okay, I think maybe.
That is the garage and the playroom and the house.
Are you working from current information?
Yes, I am. I came to see it Monday. I have copies of it. I can show you my math if you don't understand that. Again, 166 signatures and dozens of letters, and I know they're still coming in. This is not a hardship, it's a huge warehouse building, which is significantly over the lot's requirements. Plus, the building 100% does not conform to the neighbor at all. The owners, and you won't have to look at this, but the people in North, and I will have to look at forever.
If you could finish up, sir.
Okay, one more sentence, one more paragraph. One again, the zoning board I thought was the zoning board charter was to ensure the building conforms to the surrounding neighborhood. This building simply does not conform. It's a 3-car garage, and the garages are 1.6 times bigger than the average garage. An average garage is 10 by 20. This is significantly larger. Do the math. I can show it to you if you like, but that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Thanks for your
Here's the
comments.
petition that I'm presenting to the board.
Do you wish to respond?
Yes, it's 2,900 habitable square feet, the entire structure.
Can you speak up, please?
It's 2,900 habitable square feet.
Plus the garage. So 1,800.
Sir, you can't yell from the audience. We don't, it doesn't get captured.
Okay, do I get a chance to respond to?
No.
Oh.
The numbers.
The numbers are all right here on
they're
page
right
one.
here. That,
Oh, what's me?
Do you need a copy, sir? I don't know.
the habitable space is 2,921. The proposed garage is 1,080. It's a 2-plus car garage.
So that's in addition to the 29,000,
Right.
2,900.
Yeah, 2,900.
Right, so the garage is
1,000.
1,000. And the the house,
30%.
the habitable space is almost 3,000.
It's 29.
Yeah, okay.
So when you say 2+, I do notice in the plans, so you've got two
Two
space for
bays.
2 cars.
Correct.
And then the third
That's for bicycles,
bay.
that's for bicycles, things like that. No, a boat can't fit through that door.
So this is not gonna be a storage area for a boat?
No, it's not.
Okay, so that is a change from the original?
Correct. Now, right now, my one boat is being stored for the winter by Dave Bofel on Montauk Highway. The other one is being stored by Hampton Watercraft in Eastport. And I'll just continue that relationship.
Okay.
The garage was reduced from the last one by 273 square feet.
Okay, so it's a 2-car with a little place for, or some
Bicycles
space for
and garbage
bikes
cans and
and,
things like that.
you know, storage. And as you said, there is no storage in the, it's on a
It's on a slab,
so there
correct.
is no storage.
And we're eliminating 3 illegal sheds apparently.
Okay,
One of which has heating and air conditioning.
yeah, interesting. Well, you know, I'm very pleased that you've made the adjustments that you've made. I understand that probably be very difficult to meet the concerns of the neighborhood. I'm assuming you're gonna be a good neighbor and properly
I
vegetate
think I
and
have
do all
been for
sorts
12
of.
years.
Okay.
I mean,
We would agree to any screening. I mean, the adjacent property to the,
North.
to the east has, sheds right up against the property line.
That person who
as
just
well.
spoke, he has 4 sheds right up on my property line, none of which have a
And
single.
the existing, although the setback that's required is 30 feet from that property line, the existing house, it's not called out here, but the existing house, I believe, is about 14 feet.
And we're moving it to 19,
And you're moving it to 19, so you're increasing it,
correct?
the
Well,
setback
at
further.
the,
By 5
at the
feet.
small, yeah, it's the same. The current, it's
this-
19 on this corner, it's 14 on
Okay,
on this corner.
but that's the
so-
existing,
Yes, so yeah,
Okay.
that's existing,
okay.
more or less, I don't have that exact
The
number.
existing runs this way, Suzanne,
Yeah.
so it's that depth the whole way.
It's on the survey.
The existing is less than 10.
can we not yell from the audience?
We can't go back and forth, we can't go back. and
This
forth.
isn't a debate back and forth. Is there anybody else who hasn't spoken who would like to come to the podium? Please come.
Evening.
Have I sworn you in?
No, never been here.
Okay,
I'm not an attorney.
okay. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Please state your name and address.
My name is Tim Crone, C-R-O-A-N. I am the trustee of my father's house at 176 Noyak Avenue in the Pine Neck. I am also the nephew of my uncle who owns a home on Hampton Road. Now, my dad's house is probably, I would say, less than 1,000 feet from the proposed house, maybe 6 or 7 blocks. My uncle's house is, I could throw a baseball not so far and hit it. We've been out in that area since 1966. My uncle's had his place, his wife, probably before the 40s, well before my time. Over the years being out there, I've seen a lot of improvements to the Pine Neck, much of it very good, from ramshackle little dumpy summer places that people have fixed up. But as that other lady pointed out, there's been a lot of beyond that, beyond the improvements. Big houses getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I've seen them, and while they may be pretty and modern and all that, they're not in keeping with what the Pine Neck really started out to be. And it's very sad to see that sort of a thing happen. I permanently live, for the most part, in Westbury, in a house that's 1,700 square feet, plus a separate 2-car garage that's all of 10 by 20, 200 square feet. I can't imagine, and by the way, it's on a 50 by 100 foot plot. This is in the middle of Nassau County, built in 1888. I say that because people come to me and they look at my house on the corner and they say, oh my God, Tim, that's a huge house. Really? 1,700 feet? So, but what I'm hearing being proposed is something that's almost, I would say, not quite twice, but nearly twice the size of that house, and a garage that's like from 1,000 to 200, 3 times the size. I can't see where all of that is going to fit. And if it's 29 feet high, that to me is a 3-story building. Because the average story is, in my neck of the woods, is 8 feet. So 8 times 3 is 24, 29 feet is really getting up there. So I just, to be perfectly subjective, the house just sounds way too big for the neighborhood. And that's it. Thank you much.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to be heard? Is there anyone on Zoom who wishes to be heard on this application?
We have someone on Zoom.
Okay.
May I say one more thing?
No, no, let's let people who haven't spoken speak.
Yes, I assume you can hear me now?
I can, we can't see you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if you can't see me, I don't know how to fix that. You have sworn me in previously.
Okay, I have, can you state your name and address, please?
Yes, my name is Harold Wheaton. My address is 18 Briar Lane, directly across the street from the 2 over.
Okay, oh, there you go. We see you now.
Yeah. Okay, I'm very concerned about the way things are being portrayed. This house was initially a 4,800 square foot plan. It now, house and garage and counting it together, it now appears to be a 4,000 square foot plan. I'm not seeing the kind of reduction that I was expecting. I realize you're seeing a reduction in pyramid, but this thing is huge. And fundamentally, it's to store, as I recall in his first discussion, 2 trucks that he collects and boats. The idea that the garage is a 2-car garage is absolutely false. A 2-car garage at maximum is a 400 square foot area, 20 by 20. My garage in Florida is a 4-car garage and it's 1,000 square feet. So it's being misrepresented. This is not a 2-car garage. And he still has the intent of storing stuff in that garage just so he doesn't have to look at it on his own property. And I want to have a nice neighbor there who's enjoying all the stuff and whatever, but he doesn't live there. And I'm not gonna have a nice neighbor, I'm gonna have a warehouse like it's been described. I don't wanna be around that. I don't think that's appropriate. I also don't wanna get hooked up to the county water. But I will have to be if he builds this. He has been asked
twice to reduce the size of the house, and when I say house, I'm including the garage, and he really hasn't done it. He's reduced a little bit of the footprint on the ground, and he's reduced the pyramid, but this house is still ginormous. And it's way too much. And I don't like that things are being misrepresented like a two-car garage. When he's talking about 1,000 square feet, that's a 4-car garage. And he won't have 4 cars in it. He's already said he planned on putting 2 big trucks and his boat in it. I think I'm done.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks for your comments.
Okay,
Anyone else? on
I'm having misgivings. A little bit. Please. Please. Yeah. Throw away the
Okay.
key.
Okay.
And the only thing that I'm feeling is that there's just so much community opposition to it. And look, I understand the size of the, really when you're talking about how big it is, it falls within the height restrictions. We've reduced pyramid relief like enormously. The only real issue is the lot coverage.
Well, do you think that they should try to meet lot coverage of 20%?
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. But I'm just wondering, I mean, I do appreciate that you brought it down by half. I just don't know. I mean, when I look at this, and this is an objection that I've had with the beginning, that second floor is a rec area. And I think that, and it does resonate with me, that it's not a hardship because that is a luxury. And I've said that at every single time we've been here.
It's only a 2-bedroom house though, and you could call that a bedroom. You could say that's the primary
Well,
bedroom.
but we're not calling it a bedroom because that's not what it is. I mean, that would be, you know, putting form over function. It is a I mean, that's the crazy thing. It's a 2-bedroom house with a living room and a kitchen, and then another area with a bar, fireplace and seating area, high top counter, poker table, pool table. And that doesn't seem to me.
Yeah, but how does that relate to the 5-part test?
It doesn't, honestly,
Well,
people
hardship.
should be able to do what they want with their property.
Hardship,
understand.
that's how it relates to the 5-part test.
No, I understand.
Absolutely, hardship.
I understand.
And I think we have to
That's
take that
one
into
of the 5
consideration.
parts.
One.
I understand that. I'm just explaining my
The gentleman has
misgivings.
property rights. What he wants to do there, whether it's
Certainly.
poker, whether it's a bar, whether it's storage, it's his right. Whether the community wants to agree with that or not, I don't think it should factor in.
I'm just wondering if there's a way to
They're
just.
going to
just
impose anything he wants to do.
Hold that in just a little bit.
Well,
Hold that in, maybe cut it in half, that lot coverage necessity, and make that storage
coverage
space
now?
just a little bit
it's
smaller.
at 24%. So.
Yeah, 4.8%
We
is.
routinely grant variances that are, you're talking about 2.9 feet on one setback and 9 feet, little, 8 point something feet on another, and from 24.8 to 20. We routinely grant larger variances than that. The reason we're only questioning it is because we have such opposition, and it should factor in, but it shouldn't be the determinant factor.
And we also grant 24% lot coverage.
Routinely.
Routinely.
Routinely. If you look
In
at my
smaller
letter-
areas, in areas that have smaller lots.
And the gentleman has property rights. Whether they like that or not, he has property rights. Whether he has family that's gonna live there, whether they have friends. Honestly,
No, I understand
honestly,
what
I
you're-
find
I
that
get what you're saying.
insulting to have the community come out and say he has children who have friends that are gonna come over and visit. What do you think a second home?
Well, that's
or-
what happens.
That's what happens in everybody's life.
Right.
To even make this statement is so ridiculous.
You can't expect them to be,
Don't have company,
hermits.
don't have company, don't have their
Right.
children have friends over, don't enjoy
Correct.
the beautiful area we all live in.
Understood.
So
All right, okay.
Congestion's not an issue that we think about.
I would ask you to read the letter that I've submitted. I provide
Right.
copious examples, 25.1% coverage, 24.8 on the adjacent property. The house diagonally across the street has 3,630 square feet of living space and 6 bedrooms.
Okay.
8 Oak Road has a
Understood.
variance. I mean,
I think
Understood.
every house on the street
but
has.
I just want to explain my position here and why I'm saying what I'm saying. I'm not saying I'm a no on this application.
Okay.
Not saying I'm a no on this application. I didn't say I'm a yes on this application. I'm very appreciative of the reductions. I just am expressing, I'm listening to the people in the audience and the people on Zoom, and I'm expressing a misgiving. And, but I do recognize, look, you're absolutely correct. You have your property rights, and you have so reduced the relief that you originally requested, and that's laudable. And you've met the community halfway.
More
And
than
I think-
halfway, more than
And I
halfway.
think the community should meet you halfway.
Okay, I'd like an opportunity to take a look at your letter. And, yes, go ahead, Helen.
I was very concerned when Mr. Newton, shared with us the misrepresentation in reference to the garage. And I would like to see that garage reduced, because he wants a 2-car garage, then make it a 2-car garage. And a 2-car garage is not 1,000 feet. So he has to do something.
May I address that?
That would placate, for me, for my vote, placate these people. There's so many neighbors. It's not one, it's not two, it's over 100, I think that gentleman said. I think that that's very, very important. At least do something more that says, I'm listening to you, you neighbor, I care, and I'm trying. Will this make you happy? What do I need to do to make you feel okay with me becoming your neighbor? That's my.
Okay, Michael, you wanted to say something?
I
wait.
think you wanted to respond to
The
that.
petition's claiming that it's a $4,800 prefab. The word prefab is right there. It's not. It's a beautiful place that's replacing a shed. And the landscaping on the property that I own there is meticulous, and we'll do the same here. Fully screened, and you can drive there and see what
Please
is
speak
built.
up, we can't hear you.
Okay.
Okay,
I've heard of it, and that's,
yes, no, I understand.
that's not.
I've heard-
I
I've
think
heard
that
enough.
we've heard from the neighbors, clearly, we've heard from you.
Why I need that third door,
Yes,
it's not for a car, it's because the properties I was built, I wasn't allowed to have a garage eligible for a car. That was denied, so I don't have a space for anything, for bicycles, for a Weber grill.
What's the square footage of the 3 sheds that you're removing?
It's on here, let's see.
The 3 sheds that we're removing total,
Well, it's 241 for two.
it's 955 plus 480 plus 241. The total removal of buildings in place there right now is 1,626 lot coverage. I'm replacing 1,626 square feet of lot coverage with 2,470.
And were all those legal?
No.
They were there when he just bought the
I
property.
just bought the property. The 3 accessory structures do not have a CO.
okay.
So you're mitigating an illegal situation?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
And to,
As opposed to some of the
to
people
the
who just
size of
protested
the
on floor.
garage, to the size of the garage that you're putting in. You're
Correct.
removing what is, and actually, you're probably reducing, it sounds to me like if it's a 1,000 square foot garage,
Right.
and you had 3 sheds that are over
Right,
1,000 square
right.
feet,
I don't know if they all.
They're,
Yeah, he's just-
they're about 800.
800, okay. So we're going
So
up by,
when you bought the property, were there open code violations on it?
I bought it as is.
I was just curious, was there such community outreach and calling code enforcement about the illegal structures that were in it?
No,
I
no,
don't think
they've
so.
been there for forever.
Okay.
So they didn't bother the community?
No, no. Nor did the raccoons that go in and out of the house on a regular basis.
Okay, this is mine, and we are We are going to close this hearing. I think that we have heard enough, and we're going to be making a decision on this matter.
Appreciate the patience.
So I'm going to hold this open for written comments until, I lost my, what is the written
It's
comment?
517.
517.
Decision
with the
6-6.
decision 6-6.
With I propose a decision 6-6.
Second.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Mr. Macedonio. Ms. Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. McDonald.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Okay, thank you, and
Wish
thank
all
you,
a pleasant
community.
evening. God bless you.
Good luck.
Okay,
Thank you, everybody, for your coming and for your comments. That's,
Thank you, Susanna. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Your input was helpful. Thank you.
Okay. All right, moving on.
Okay, number 13 on, what? Oh, okay.
Where's the next?
Number 13 on the agenda, 40 Ocean View Drive LLC, 40 Ocean View Drive, Shinnecock Hills, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-271-1-44. I did it!
Okay,
Kate, is there anybody on Zoom for this?
No? You're not here for that, are you?
Yes,
You're here on the next.
Oh, next one, okay.
we're here. Yeah, they're here for this, for Ocean,
For 40
yeah.
Ocean View?
No. They don't have the applicant.
Oh.
We're asking if the applicant is present.
Yes, me wrong.
Right, it's Nayron, yeah. So he's not present on Zoom? Oh, he is, okay. Okay, good. All right.
You also have a written submission on this.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
What is this?
Did you guys see the written submission?
Mm-hmm.
Not you, how you said.
You didn't pass down the talking points from
Oh, all right, so sorry.
God.
Wait a second, where is
How could you have not?
my, No, I brought
I
it.
do not remember.
This is the one.
All right, I don't know.
Crazy. Pine Neck.
No, we're at 40 Ocean.
This is the one where he
No,
had the.
that's 198. That's
Is Mayron coming through?
There is a written submission on this? All right, we're,
Hold on.
I know, Pete, we can't even hear you. Do you see the architect? Do you see the architect coming through?
Yes, but they want to be voted to panelists and be seen and heard here.
What happened?
Mistake.
I didn't hear what he said.
he's
I don't, we can't
declined
hear you.
being a panelist, so he can't.
He's not
zoom him in.
accepting.
Oh,
He's
Oh,
not
the
accepting,
architect's not?
Yeah, he's not
I thought he said he
accepting,
wouldn't.
he's declining
No.
being
My ears are
moved
clogged.
to a panelist.
Huh? Well, we're gonna give it a couple of minutes, but then we're gonna have to move on.
Mhm.
All right, you got it? Good.
He accepted, okay.
Interesting.
10 minutes.
Candace, did Mayron get the memo too?
Yes, I
Okay.
emailed it to him,
Awesome.
so he saw it.
Mayron, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Can you see me?
We can,
Now we can, yes.
All right, great, thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Ah, here we go.
I'm not sure if Candace explained the situation to you. We're asking to modify the previously approved decision from, the decision to 2022. What happened was we had, during the initial design, we had open flying beams in the front of the house. And the owner decided to close them off and use that area as a storage without a roof on it. There's no roof on it. It's still exposed to the elements. So we need a new set of calculations, use the openings and use an 18-inch thickness, and we came up with more footage. I don't know if the board members have the memo that Candace has issued. There was initially 1,342 cubic feet were approved.
Yes.
Now, if we add the opening, the thicknesses and the openings, the cubic feet would be 1978.
That's the one.
I had a meeting with Sean at the building department,
They've got these
Sean and
architectural
Dave
features
Fanji,
that are not
and I explained to
proposed,
them that in reality,
require being addressed.
the wall is only about 5.5, 6 inches thick. And we went to the max, covering the whole thing, which the owner is not doing, is, so if we go to a 5.5 or 6 inch wall, the cubic feet would be a lot less than what we're proposing tonight. And that's where we are, so I don't know what the procedure is going forward. Can we modify the original decision, or how the board is gonna look at it?
We would need a new application, wouldn't we?
No.
No?
All right, so this
It's
all
like,
went
no.
sideways. It all went sideways, okay? So
Okay.
they came, you know, the applicant, the neighbors are fine with the moving of the air condensers, right? The neighbors
Right.
noticed that the plans that they were building for the house were different from what was approved by the ZBA. Candace and I talked to the building department said it doesn't make any difference whether they enclose it partially or more, and they said no change. The neighbors came at our last hearing and they said, that's not true, there's gonna be a significant pyramid encroachment. We said, let's find out from the building department what that means.
Right.
Then, unbeknownst to everybody, the building department said, there is no change in the pyramid, but there was a more significant pyramid encroachment the first time. So,
So, wait, the original plans,
the original plans.
they didn't
that were
calculate
approved-
the encroachment properly.
Correct, they didn't calculate the pyramid
Right.
encroachment correctly the first time because they weren't accounting for all of these different areas that the building department is saying, it doesn't matter whether it's fully enclosed or partially enclosed, the pyramid encroachment is the same. So that's why the building department said no change, but you were also right, that there was a pyramid encroachment, it just was never calculated that way to begin with. So it's definitely not a new application. What we have to figure out, and maybe we can hear from the neighbors, is there any way to possibly mitigate this? Because it's been approved, the plans have been approved incorrectly, with an incorrect pyramid encroachment. So everybody was right. Building department was right, there was no change. Neighbors were right, there is a significant pyramid encroachment. The problem was when the board originally approved it, it wasn't calculated correctly.
So wait, I'm getting lost. So is
It-
it, hold on. So is it, hold on. So is it that it's larger now or smaller now?
Larger.
It
Larger
was-
by almost 50%.
But it's not larger than more than 50%. I think it was an additional, I don't have the memo.
It's
because I gave it to you.
636
Additional
additional
600.
feet, bringing it
600
from
plus feet.
1,300 to
From
almost
1342 to
2,000.
1978.
Okay, so,
Okay.
but that was always there. Whatever,
So
however
the
they proposed.
1342 was approved.
1342 was approved, but
Right.
it really should have been,
Okay.
but it really should have been 1978.
It should have been 1978. Now we're like, what do we do?
Hold on. Yes, that's exactly what the building
Okay.
department said. The building department was basically saying, like Katie just explained, that The number 1342, yes, while that was granted, it should have always been the number it is now, which is 1978, because regardless of whether the spaces between these structural members are open, partially enclosed, or enclosed totally, that should have been the number to begin with.
So if it had
So
been
now
just
it-
the skeleton,
Mhm.
like originally the neighbors thought it was supposed to be,
Mhm.
it still would have been included in the pyramid encroachment,
Yes.
even though it wasn't enclosed.
Right, so now the
So-
board has decided how to handle.
So
Okay.
that's
So
what I
are our
understand.
options?
But that's, and that's
Okay.
why it's frustrating, because
Yeah.
it's hard to believe, that there's
Right.
no change in the pyramid encroachment, whether it's completely a wall or just partially a wall. The building department is basically saying, and we see that when we.
We did the other one, it had the,
Yes.
it had the, little,
Yes, the
Cutouts.
pergolas, or
Yeah.
sometimes we see
Pergolas.
with the railings, they're measuring space.
Okay.
Okay, so what are
But
our
before-
options?
Wait, just, we'll give you an opportunity to talk.
Well, I mean,
Do you want to come up and give us your
Wait,
comments
wait,
now?
No, we have-
Wait, let's-
Wait, I have a question.
let Miron speak.
So,
Go ahead.
just so the board knows, when I met with Sean and the Akanji, they had no issue with it whatsoever.
Okay, so, wait,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm sorry.
But my question is, so what are our options with how to deal with it? Before we hear from the neighbors, I'd like
Yeah.
to know, like, how can we, what are the ways we might deal with it, and then choose the best?
Well, I mean,
Way.
I can only tell you, and again, I know we want to hear from you, but I can only tell you, you have seen this happen before. There was an accessory apartment once, the board had approved it, John Bennett had represented them, the board had approved a certain amount of pyramid encroachment. John Bennett came back and said, we need to modify this because it can't go over here because there was some issue with the driveway. And John said, by the way, my pyramid encroachment is going down, so I need to swap out the plans. But by the way, the plans that you approved had a height, violated the height or something like that. And,
Right.
and so the board was like, you considered that when you granted it. I mean, so I don't want to say that you have to grant this because it's not fair, because there is some confusion and there is additional pyramid encroachment. But it's also like, all of this was before you. The plans were before you, the plans haven't changed, that's not true. The plans have changed, but the pyramid encroachment hasn't changed, it just isn't what you approved. So normally, I would say to you, well, you should approve it, because the building department is telling you there's no change. I know that the number's different, and I know that the neighbors object.
But how can we approve it if it's not before us? Or is it before us?
It's
Now it
definitely,
is.
it's
Now it
definitely
is.
before you.
Now it is. It's before us now because of this letter. Let's hear from the neighbors.
Yeah.
Come on
I mean, I
up.
don't,
Yeah.
and I'm sorry to Mayron, this has been very, very frustrating.
I'm not sorry about it.
Okay, well, why don't we just, again, before you start, I know I've sworn you in, but please state your name and address for the record.
Lillian Severnick, 38 Ocean View Drive, Southampton.
Chris Severnick, 38 Ocean View Drive, Southampton.
Okay.
This is a
So,
surprise.
we are here now the 6th or the 7th time. The reason that this building was approved with what was called an architectural feature. What we were told here in the meetings, in some of the meetings we had, and I'm gonna look them up, was an architectural feature is not being considered under the pyramid law. So you can build a structure and you can build like an architectural feature, which nobody explained exactly what it is, but so these columns on top of the second floor were that architectural feature. And it was clear because there was an issue with the board demanded that they reduce the encroachment of the sky plane. Originally, the developer had submitted a third floor for this project, and they were asked to reduce it to one floor above grade, and they could use the below grade, the basement, as a residential floor. So the basement is the first floor, the on grade floor is the second floor. And the reason they did this architectural feature is to give the building the look of more heft. And it was very clearly explained to us that the openness on all sides and just this column was so it wouldn't be part of the pyramid law and increase the cubic feet to whatever, 1,900, 2,000 feet. So, I'm sorry, but what I'm saying here was approved by this board, not by you guys, some of you were there.
It's all Michael's fault.
You know, and now we hear, well, this is normal, you know. And what is the meeting with Sean? We met with Sean like 6 weeks ago, and we told him about this. And Sean looked at it in disbelief, you know, and said, I can't believe this, you know. And he looked at the building plans, he looked at the ZBA approved drawings, and there was this big difference, and he couldn't believe it, and said, well, that's, you know, that's not right. Now, all of a sudden, he has a meeting with the architect, now it's all right. Now, this was like an oversight by the board to determine what this, I don't know if you read the letter, we hired an architect to help us with this, because it's a bit overwhelming. And the architect tried to find out also, what do you mean by architectural feature? Well, it's this thing, and it's open on all sides, you know. It looks like decorative, you know, on top, so it's not just this one-story house.
Doesn't have a roof.
And doesn't
Which
have
have
a roof, there's
now.
already,
The
and
roof.
you all have the documents, the roof beams are already in there.
After everything was approved.
Yeah.
Now a roof is being put on.
Oh, he's got.
Not the roof, but
No,
the
he
beams.
says
for
there's
The beams for the roof.
And also originally the spaces, the open spaces, which were part of the condition for them to get the ZBA approval. In the beginning, they were open, and all of a sudden, maybe 2 months ago, they closed them up.
You told us that last time.
Yeah, I told you that, so.
I think what happened is that maybe there was a confusion about this architectural feature, and now they consider that that should have been included in the pyramid. Is that correct?
No, who made the mistake? I'm not-
Well, listen, but that's what I'm saying. I think it's a combination of all of those things. I think that they changed the plans, and they were advised by the building department that it didn't result in any additional pyramid, which again, it doesn't if they had factored it in the first time.
Okay.
So I think what you're saying is you want it the way that it was approved by this board.
Yes.
So then, so in order to achieve that, I would say to the board, you modify the prior variance, granting the additional pyramid relief, but keeping those plans, right?
Yeah.
Keeping those plans, that's what the neighbors want you
So
to do.
wait a second, modify it to recognize the larger number for the pyramid relief, but it has to not be enclosed, and it has to just be.
That's correct, that's what the neighbors would want you to do. The applicant.
It has to have open spaces, it
Correct.
shouldn't have a roof.
And so what does the applicant want?
Well, the applicant wants you to grant the additional pyramid. Both decisions would read the same in terms of the total pyramid. But the applicant is saying, because I've been told there is no change in the pyramid encroachment, what's the harm? Like that, I understand you say there harm, but that's what, you see, that's what I'm saying.
But
Like,
what
it's-
does the applicant want to do with it?
He wants storage.
Wants to enclose it.
He
He
wants
wants to
to,
enclose it.
and he said without a roof,
Without
but
a
if
roof.
there's
So
roof beams.
he basically, it turns
Hold
out
on.
for him to be 1/3 of the footprint of the house is a third floor. And this was the discussion here with the board, I don't know how many times.
Yes, you're
about
right. I
not putting
recall.
up- Remember, not putting up a third floor, and then they came up with this structure and said architectural feature.
And that's the only way that I would agree to move forward
Yeah,
with
you-
this. I
you-
would
yeah, I
not.
remember.
To leave it as an architectural feature, open space,
As-
no
Open
roof.
space.
As
Not
it
blocking our
was
light.
when we granted that.
According to
approval.
the original plans.
Yeah.
Right, according to the original plans that are connected with the approval that we gave.
I think that's the only appropriate
With
course of action.
a recognition that the calculation of pyramid encroachment was incorrect and needs to be corrected for the original.
But
the
let
original
the
plan.
applicant speak. just-
Can I just say something else, the context of it? Both our lots are very narrow. Our lots are 45 feet wide. We live in a house that was built in the 60s, was remodeled by a well-known architect here. And this house is, in our neighborhood, an abomination. I don't even know how it really got through, because we have
nice little old cottages, it's like.
All right, but that, we're not dealing with that.
You know, we're not dealing
Okay,
with that,
no,
but I'm
that's right.
saying, you know, we have the third floor. If it's
Okay, we
closed
got
in,
your
towering
point.
over us.
We've got your point.
Okay, good.
Do you want to say anything? Mayor?
No, I'm just gonna repeat what I said before, the area still open to the elements. It does not have a roof on it, it's gonna be rained on, snowed on and whatnot.
All right, I'm inclined to be like Michael. If you want to go back to the original plan of an architectural feature that is completely open, not enclosed, and with a modification of the original ZBA decision to recognize the incorrect calculation of the pyramid relief, that's where I would come out on this.
And with the removal of the beams.
Yeah.
Well, it supposedly has beams. Oh, you mean the
No,
roof beams?
the overhead beams.
Roof beams, yes, the roof beams.
Removal of the roof beams.
Roof beams. So that's where I'm coming out on this.
I didn't follow that, I'm so sorry.
All right, so what I'm saying is, the original plan presented to the ZBA was an architectural feature which had open sides with no beams, no roof.
The plans that were connected to the approval
The
that we
approval.
made.
And I would go with that, with the modification to recognize that an incorrect calculation had been made on the pyramid and to correct the record for that. But I would not go along with the enclosure of the,
Or
of this
any change.
architectural feature. So that has to be as originally approved in the plans from the, original application.
How do we go about applying to enclose that? Again, without a roof, how do we go about that?
Well, it doesn't sound like you're gonna get approval from this board to apply for that.
Is it because of the number? Because of the
No, it's
increase?
because of the fact that it's a third of the size of the building, and it looks, and it sort of functions like a third floor.
Well, if you're gonna
And, you know,
change the plan, I think that would trigger a new application.
Well, it would, but I'm not saying that this
Right.
board would be all that
Exactly.
receptive
It
to
would
a
be
new
subject to-
application.
it would be
You would have
subject to our
to do a
review.
new application.
Maybe just to the building department, though.
Why?
It's not going to be, it's not considered a story in the New York State terms. It's not, because it's open.
Right.
And it's not gonna be habitable, none of that stuff.
Yes, but it does cut down on light, visual
It's facing
looking
north,
through.
so it doesn't affect the neighbors whatsoever during any season, any time. It's facing north.
The sun rises in the east.
Sun
I'm
doesn't
sorry,
rise-
it rises in the east towards our house where our trees are. They get sunlight there.
Okay.
You've blocked all our sunlight.
All right,
You-
I think,
you
I
know,
looked at it.
it's not a shed.
You guys,
Please,
you
it's
guys
not a shed.
can't talk to
you
each
can't go
other.
back and forth
I'm
to each
sorry.
other.
Okay, sorry.
It's okay,
It does not affect your light winter time or summertime.
okay.
So that's that. Now, what I can do, is the owner wants to do this and he has asked me to do anything we can in my power to do this. The numbers that I calculated, the adjusted numbers, are based on a wall that's 18 inches thick. As I mentioned to the board members before, we can go to the nitty gritty and just calculate the air volume of these 5.5-inch walls. That number is gonna be reduced by a good 60-70%.
Mayor, but that's the building,
That's-
that's not the building department's position. The building department is saying that the pyramid encroachment exists no matter how thick the enclosures are. So maybe you can move it in more so that if there is no pyramid encroachment, but right now, open or closed, there is a pyramid encroachment.
Right.
I understand that, Katie. Again, building department had no issues with it though.
They have no issues with it because their position is that it doesn't make a difference, but you don't have a variance for the proper total that you have open or closed right now.
Right,
You do not have enough of a variance.
right.
So the board will consider correcting it to give you the variance that you need if you keep it the way that it was.
Originally, which was open,
And that would be the condition of
right.
the variance.
Right.
And very honestly, the number of cubic feet on a variance is something that we take seriously, and I don't know if I would have been as likely to be a yes vote on that if it was 1,900 cubic feet as 1,300. because of the process that we went through, lots of meetings and trying to arrive at a reasonable place. Because we don't have to give relief for Pyramid, ever.
We don't have to give
We don't have
relief.
to. We don't have to give any relief.
Ever.
And we did this.
But we do give consideration to people who, you know, if they
Right.
come in with a
Absolutely.
reasonable request, so. All right, so I've stated my position.
And you're reasonable in terms of the way that you approached this and contributed to the conversation.
Does anybody agree with my position?
Absolutely. I think we should approve a modification of the previous variance
The calculation, yeah.
to the new updated calculation according to the original plans, with the condition being that it stays according to the original plans. And if he wants to do anything else with it, he'll have to make another application and
Or comply with town code, if you wanna.
comply with town code, or make another application, and we would take into consideration the fact that we'd already issued a variance.
What do you mean comply with town code?
Oh, he can do anything
If
in the property
if
as
for
long as
some
he
reason, you know,
complies.
he wants this feature and he can maybe shift it in so that there's no pyramid encroachment.
Impossible.
I don't know, I'm not an architect, I'm just saying, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, okay.
He can do anything that complies with town code,
Right, and then we don't have to deal
and
with
then we
it.
don't have to touch it.
So we don't have this for a second, do we know what the original plans we're speaking of, the date of them? 'Cause we're gonna-
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, they're in the file.
Okay, so just before we do our decision, I want to make sure we're gonna approve, I agree with.
Yeah.
All right, is there anybody in the audience who wishes to be heard?
Because I know some of you were not, do you want a copy of what that plan is?
No, I just wanna make sure we know what it is when we have the decision, and we
Yes, I
know what
think
plan we're
so.
I
approving it
think,
of.
I'd like to see it.
Yeah,
again
let's see it again.
And make sure that
I'm
it's
just gonna
consistent
I'm
with
just
what.
gonna get a copy of it.
Okay, thank you.
So, board members, I'm sorry.
Want copies again?
So can I'm gonna communicate with my client tonight. He would probably, I'm texting with him, sorry. He's probably want to go for another application.
Okay.
You still have that one option, correct?
Yes, you
Always do.
can always come for another application. I would say that you're not getting a really positive feeling from this board, but yes, you can always apply for another
But hold
application.
on, but Marion, if, maybe what you should do is communicate with your clients, and if you think he wants to make another application, the board will only, you know, the board will just grant the variances for the pool equipment, and then leave the rest of it until you come back. Because you don't wanna get a modification of something that you're not gonna build either.
Let me, Katie, thank you very much.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Let me see what he says and where he
Okay,
wants to go.
okay, and just submit, give it to us in writing.
Okay, so what you're saying is that we could approve partially?
Well, you can approve
Yes,
what we've
the air-
advertised
air-
and,
right,
and the
exactly.
rest of the stuff can just
Right.
wait.
And then just wait.
Yeah.
Okay. All right,
Thank you.
you're
Thank you
welcome.
very much.
Anybody else on
Thank you.
Zoom? All right, so what are we looking at in terms of timing here?
Is that a copy of the approved plans at the time that the variance was granted?
I think Candace is gonna get us a copy.
I'm gonna get
Okay.
you a copy for the file.
Could you just, you are, okay.
Yeah.
I can-
Well, he-
I've
she
got
doesn't
it,
know.
so you don't
Okay,
have to
no,
pass
no.
them around.
All right.
And it has,
Thank you, Ken.
So this is mine, do we,
Bob is relieved.
are we closing it, what are we
This
doing?
is yours?
Yes, you're gonna close it, you're gonna leave it open for written submissions, give them extra time, like, don't put it on for 6/6, you know?
What do you,
like,
what do you want me to do then?
I would say, I would close it for written submissions,
By 5/17?
What do you want me, no,
No,
I'll
I'm
close it,
saying
I'll
like-
close it for written decisions until 6/7, with a decision on
Yes.
7/18?
Yes,
Yeah.
okay, a decision on 6/20.
that way, we'll,
No,
they'll.
6/20, decision on 6/20.
All right,
Oh, 6.
decision,
Say that again?
No.
I'm gonna hold it open for written submissions until 6/7,
right.
and then with a decision on 6/20.
Second.
Mr. Macedonia.
Aye.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Mr. McDonald.
Aye.
thank
Mr.
you.
Daly.
Aye.
Last
Thank
question for the board members, I'm so
No,
sorry.
wait a second,
Wait,
we're
wait,
voting.
wait.
Ms. Burgess? All
Aye.
right, chair votes aye.
Okay.
All right,
That's,
that's it.
This is my, John?
Yes.
What is,
Okay.
oh, this comes to me too.
All right.
Still good when it comes in front of Sheila. Like we tried to like bring it all in.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's a woman. This is 40
I know. Okay,
All right.
let's try to,
He just doesn't know that his hearing is closed, he's still waiting to say something. So he's-
oh, I'm sorry.
But he
Go,
can't- the hearing's closed.
the hearing's
Hearing's
closed, I'm
closed.
sorry, we've already voted.
Written submission.
You can do a written submission. Okay,
Thank you.
okay, you too. Okay, where are we? We're at decisions.
Decisions.
All right, so let's see. Bob, you've got a bunch. You want to start us off?
Okay, I will start with the decision on Ann Silverstein, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-209-3-72. This application is for a property located at 38 Highland Road, Shinnecock Hills. Applicant requests a single and separate determination. Based upon the evidence and testimony in the record, this board finds that the subject premises located at 38 Highland Road, Shinnecock Hills, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-209-3-72 is single and separate lot entitled to relief pursuant to Town Code Section 330-115D as shown on the survey prepared by Robert Smith of Squires Holden, survey July 10th, 2023. Grant of the foregoing is subject to other conditions and permits as applicant has already acquired or may otherwise have to acquire for final approval of the subject premises, including the 1, removal of the existing shed and garbage bin and wire fence on premises, and 2, the separation of ownership of the lots within 6 months of the decision.
Second.
Mr. Macedonia?
Aye.
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Mr. McDonald?
I'm abstaining.
Abstaining. Mr. Daly?
Aye.
Ms. Burgess? Chair votes aye.
This is also a decision on Ann Silverstein, Suffolk County Tax Map, Section 900-209-3-73. This application is for property located at 36 Highland Road, Shinnecock Hills. Applicant requests a single and separate determination. Based upon the evidence and testimony in the record, this board finds the subject premises located at 36 Highland Road, Shinnecock Hills, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-209-3-73 is a single and separate lot entitled to relief pursuant to Town Code 330-115D as shown on the survey prepared by Robert Smith of Squires Holden, survey July 10th, 2023. Grant of the foregoing is subject to other conditions and permits as applicant has already acquired or may have to acquire for final approval of subject premises, including the separating of ownership of the lots within 6 months of today's decision.
Second.
Mr. Macedonia?
Aye.
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Ms. Burgess? Aye. Mr. McDonald?
Abstain.
Mr. Daly?
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
This decision is for Aaron McCarthy, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-369-5-5. This application is for property located at 7 Quantuck Bay Lane, Quayog, New York. The applicant requests variances for proposed swimming pool on a through lot. After feedback from the board, the application modified the size and setback for the pool and agreed to have the pool equipment and fencing comply with town code. As modified, this application passes the standards set forth in New York State town law and town code. Therefore, this board grants relief from the following provisions of the town code for a proposed swimming pool, 1 Town Code Section 330-11, residence district tables of dimension regulations for an accessory distance from the street, front yard setback from 28.3 feet from the westerly portion line, Old Meeting House Road where 70 feet is required, and 2 Town Code Section 330-76D, placement of accessory building structures and uses in all districts, and Town Code Section 330-83C, yards to allow the proposed swimming pool to be located within the required front yard for the principal building as shown in the survey prepared by Michael K. Wicks, last updated March 18, 2024. The granting of this relief is subject to other conditions and permits as applicant has already acquired or may have to otherwise acquire for final approval of the subject premises.
Second.
Mr. Macedonia?
Aye.
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Mr. Daly?
Aye.
Mr. McDonald?
Abstain.
Ms. Burgess? Chair votes aye. Okay, Mike, you've got one?
I do. This application, this is Nikolai Nielsen, Suffolk County Tax Map number 900-95-252.2. This application is for property located at 7 Post Place, North Sea. Applicant requests relief for a property 1-story addition to a dwelling with pre-existing non-conforming setbacks. This application passes the standards set forth in New York State Town Law and the Town Code. Therefore, this board grants relief from Town Code 330-6 that references Town Code 330-11's Residence Districts Table of Dimensional Regulations for a principal rear yard setback of 44.1 feet, where 60 feet is required for a proposed one-story addition to an existing dwelling, as shown on the survey prepared by Stephen Borowski, LS, last revised April 5th, 2024. Grant of the foregoing is subject to such other conditions and permits as applicant has already acquired or may otherwise have to acquire for final approval of the subject premises, including the removal or relocation of any non-conforming sheds on the premises prior to the issuance of any certificates for the addition.
Second.
Mr. Daly?
Aye.
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia?
Aye.
Mr. McDonald?
Abstain.
Ms. Burgess? Chair votes aye. Helen, do you want me to read your decision?
I was very much appreciated.
Okay. This is for Janine Grippo, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-257-2-10. This application is for property located at 14 Homewood Drive, Hampton Bays. Applicant seeks a variance for a proposed one-story addition to a dwelling with the pre-existing non-conforming setbacks. This application passes the standards set forth in New York State Town Law and Town Code. Therefore, this board grants relief from Town Code Section 330-84D Pyramid Law for an encroachment in the amount of 40 cubic feet for a proposed one-story addition to an existing dwelling, as shown on the site plans and elevations, all prepared by August Henry Muff, R.A., last dated November 21st, 2023. Grant of the foregoing relief is subject to such other conditions and permits as applicant has already acquired or may otherwise have to acquire for final approval of subject premises.
Second.
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia? Ms. Burgess?
Aye.
Mr. McDonald?
Abstain.
Mr. Daly?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Okay. I have,
One, Keith's got one.
yeah,
We have one more.
would you like to read Keith's?
Sure.
John, do you have it?
No, I don't.
And then give it back, because I have one more.
Okay. Where is?
I think it's way down.
Yeah, it's not it.
Oh, Roberto
Robert.
Cami. Okay. Decision Roberto Cami. Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-139-4-47.2. This application is for property located at 12 Old Quag Road, Riverside. Applicant requests a variance for zero road frontage on a lot that historically was provided access over an 8-foot right-of-way. After discussion with the board as to the creation and configuration of the subject premises and an agreement to instead take access over a 40-foot right-of-way over a different lot, this board finds that the application passes the standards set forth in New York State Town Law and the Town Code. Therefore, this board finds the premises to be a single and separate lot and grants relief from Town Code Section 330-82 lot width to allow a road frontage of 0 feet where the minimum road frontage of a lot at the street line shall be at least 40 feet in all districts. As shown on the survey prepared by Pat T. Secafico, Sacafico, last revised October 25, 2023. This decision is conditioned upon 1, access to the premises only being taken over property located at 181 Flanders Road, Riverside, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-139-3-1, as shown on the aforementioned survey, and 2, the recording of the driveway easement over 181 Flanders Road, Riverside, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-139-3-1, establishing a 40-foot right-of-way easement driveway within 6 months of this decision. Grant of this foregoing relief is subject to such other conditions and permits as applicant has already acquired or may otherwise have to acquire for final approval of the subject premises.
Second.
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia?
Aye.
Mr. Daly?
Aye.
Mr. McDonald?
Abstain.
Ms. Burgess?
That
Chair votes aye.
one says-
Okay, I have one more.
And all these,
This is for Karen and Bruce McGowan, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-45-2-120.1. This application is for property located at 508 Watermill Town Road, North Sea. Applicants request variances for a proposed swimming pool on a lot burdened by 3 front yards. this board finds that the application passes the standards set forth in New York State Town Law and Town Code. Therefore, this board grants relief for the following provisions of the Town Code for a proposed pool. 1. Town Code Section 330-6 that references Section 330-11, Resident Districts Tables of Dimensional Regulations, for an accessory distance from the street front yard setback of 70 feet where 110 feet is required, and an accessory side yard setback of 21 feet where 50 feet is required. 2. Town Code Section 330-76D, placement of accessory building structures and uses in all districts, and Town Code Section 330-83C yards, to allow the proposed swimming pool to be located within the required front yard for the principal building, as shown on the survey prepared by John Borowski, LS, last revised March 13, 2023. The grant of this relief is subject to such other conditions and permits as applicant has already acquired or may otherwise have to acquire for final approval of the subject premises, including 1. Removal of the fence on the adjacent property prior to the issuance of any certificate for the proposed pool, and 2. The continued maintenance by the applicants of all successors entitled of the existing shrubs on the eastern side of the premises.
Second.
Mr. Macedonia.
Aye.
Mr. Leonard.
Abstain.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Mr. McDonald.
Thanks.
And Ms. Burgess. Chair votes aye. Okay. And may I have a motion to?
Motion to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned.
Whack it.
Be careful, he may not.